Good evening, Reds, and welcome to Jarvis's Corner with your host Jarvis Cocker on MUFC Realist TV. Tonight I have my regular guests on with Stu Woolley, Tom Journalist 1, and Football Power Hour Poppy is joining us. So we will have a good show for you guys. Tonight we will introduce a new topic. It's called the Devil's Advocate. So we will have a massive discussion later, and we will talk about the latest news. Ugarte, McTominay, Mainu. Maybe are we talking about Sterling, Rabiot, Lindelof, Ericsson, Hannibal? Who knows? It will be a lot of transfer talk. But first of all, we will talk about the game, the loss against Brighton 2-1. What a terrible loss. Are the knives out for Ten Hag again? We will see. But I will see you guys after the intro. See you in a second.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. If we wish to make it louder, we will bring up the volume. If we wish to make it softer, we will tune it to a whisper. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can roll the image, make it flutter. We can change the focus to a soft blur, or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. We repeat, there is nothing wrong with your television set. You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to...
Yes, and we're on with Jarvis's Corner. And tonight, as usual, I have with me Stu Woolley, Tom Journalist 1, and Poppy Power Hours. So let's start with the main man himself, the Tipton Hammer, Mr. Stu Woolley. How are you, my friend? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Yes, I did. I always put it on mute when you go live. No, I'm good. I'm good. We've had a bank holiday here in the UK, so
nice.
I've had a couple of extra days off, really. So we've been doing lots of stuff. You know what it's like. But of watching footy over the weekend, as the old ankle still isn't right, but hopefully, fingers crossed, I should be back next week.
How is the ankle?
Yeah, not great actually. I elected not to go to have an X-ray on it. But I can now walk on it, so that's all right. So I'll probably try it Wednesday evening, like the fool I am. I'll probably try it Wednesday evening against a weaker load of players and see how we get on, and see if I can still knock it around. And if I can't, then maybe retirement should be in the equation. No chance. No chance of that. Yeah. No chance of that. Not a hope in early retiring. But apart from that, yeah, pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. It's not been a bad weekend. So yeah. So quite happy all round, really.
Glad to hear. And I see Poppy as usual with his dinner plate eating on live on air.
Yeah, tremendous.
So what's on your dinner plate, Poppy?
Oh no! It was just just some fruit. Nothing crazy. I just finished my, yeah.
Well, how's the weekend been? You've been busy streaming a lot after the game, and we did a post match show together, and have you had the time to analyze the game and think of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't really to put too much thought into it. I've just been listening to just different footballing opinions from just various Man United fans, and how people, as you eloquently titled the stream, like one win, one loss, and it's everybody has very different reactions about the way in which things are going right now. So our fan base, without even going too deep right now, our fan base is so varied, and because everybody has different expectations and different levels of like what they want the progress to be. So it's been very fascinating hearing just different points of view. I watched the highlights again, but I didn't watch the whole match again, or like, do even further deeper analysis or anything like that. So yeah, that's what I meant. Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I haven't had the time to see the game myself, so I only saw the 20 minutes highlights on the MUFC app.
Yes.
So yeah, I've been trying to analyze it myself. I can't really quite get my hands on what went wrong. I think our press play was good. I think we had bits and pieces. I think we ran out of juice and just personal errors and stuff like that. So we will come back to it in a while. But first, Tom, big up, Tom. Are you doing well?
Yeah, I'm not doing bad, guys. And I hope everybody else had a good week. Yeah, busy week. But I mean, weekend, we know what happened. But we'll get into it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Do a bit of analysis and, like you said, cover the news and stuff and that. But yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, but first of all, we can just talk a little bit about the game. I think all of the people watching and us included have a thought of what happened. So maybe Stu can go first and have a say, because we lost that game. We conceded in the dying minutes, and I think we opened well, undeservingly. We were 1-0 down at halftime. We produced a couple of chances, but Brighton, something about them, I think they were well organized. Welbeck was good. I think they have a couple of good players in there, like that number 10. What's his name again?
Pedro.
Yeah, Pedro. Yeah. I think he was good. The Welbeck was really good, and hardworking midfielders, and a good system. What I think we talked a little bit about it. The manager, when they defended, they went into a 2-2-1-5 formation with the back five, like swooping up and down like this, and was very effective stopping our wingers, because they have always someone who could jump at our wingers, especially Rashford. So
just to stop you there, Jarvis, what do I always talk about when I coach the kids?
Yes,
I talk about it all.
This is Stu Wally 101. It's
I've been talking about it for 4 years. Ever since you've been following me, I've been talking about the same thing about how you, and people don't. No, I've got to be very, very careful here, but a lot of people don't understand the mechanism behind the kind of pendulum formation. It's not even a formation. It's a group of players, group of people that understand when to move together backwards and forwards. And what we tend to do with our kids when they're 8 years old, 7 years old, 6 years old, we get their favorite tune of the time, whatever it is, an Imagine Dragons song or some gangster rap, whatever it is they listen to. And we teach them to step out 2 yards together, step back 2 yards together. And we teach them the art of knowing and blending together and understanding each other's moves. So eventually the idea is you don't have to look left or right to see, you just know instinctively. And it's all about timing process. And Brighton are very good at that. Actually, the game itself, I thought was massively interesting, just from a neutral point of view, as well as a Manchester United fan. And I'd imagine as a Brighton fan, it was quite an interesting game of football, really. And when you look at all the games that happened over the weekend, there were certain patterns you could pretty much tell what was going to happen in each of those games. Apart from our game, you couldn't really tell which way it was going to go, whether the pressing was right, whether it wasn't right. We didn't really zonal press too much. We pressed up against the players, and sometimes when you're playing Brighton, Jarvis, we've spoken about this before, you need to zonal press, and the reason you zonal press is so you don't allow them to spin and run off you like we did on occasions. Minte, for example. Although I thought Dalot played him pretty well, I have to say. I thought he was quite dangerous. He was a bit of a live wire. And the good thing about him in particular was he'd play outside and inside of Dalot. So Dalot was always on the back foot. He was always running backwards. He was never in control of the situation. That's because he's not a natural left back. I'm not really saying he would have done any better against Matoma, because I thought Mazzari pretty much, banished Matoma, really, apart from the cross, for most of the game. But I think, when you look at it, overall, did the Mounts issue, nobody really knows what the issue is with Mount. Did that really change the game for us? It probably did, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't have. You shouldn't have to rely on one player to do all this kind of pressing in and around. You need more players to do that. You need more players to be active within the final third rather than standing around allowing them to have it for 20 yards. Steele in particular, Jarvis, I think when we spoke last Monday, you mentioned Steele was pretty good, with his feet.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, Jarvis has got that bang to rights. He's absolutely brilliant with his feet, but I thought he's a cocky little fucker at the same time because when he's got the ball, you should be in and absolutely smashing him. Get yourself a yellow card or whatever, but put him under no illusion. If you dick about with it, I'm going to nail you. I'm going to nail you quickly. And we don't do that. So what we allowed, if you remember, fellas, we dropped deep, maybe 20 yards, and allowed Steele and allowed the fullbacks. I thought their centre half, the blonde lad, Van der Gay or whatever it is, I can't remember his name in particular, but I thought it was actually. That's him. Again, if I was playing on that pitch, he'd have pissed me off to the absolute limit. I would have gone chasing him for a fucking, just to kick the bastard. Because, players like that who play with that confidence, who seem to have that game against us occasionally. Have you ever noticed players seem to really elevate themselves into playing against Manchester United? You've got to be on them. You've got to hit them fucking hard. When you look at what they did to us. You talk about Pedro in particular. He was quick in the tackle. He was hard in the challenge. He looked at it, and the first 5 to 10 minutes, Pawson was giving absolutely zero to anybody, and we were being upended at that time on a regular basis. And it carried on, and it carried on, and it carried on throughout the game till we got frustrated and gave away stupid tackles, which are going to give free kicks away, where they were very, very clever in their play. Now, we could look at it and say it's the same old mistakes, same old errors. Maguire got absolutely vilified for the first goal, but I'm telling you now, it was Martinez who was flat-footed. Maguire, yes, but Martinez was equally flat-footed at the back post. If you watch his position, if you watch how, if you look at it in slow motion, see how far Welbeck had to slide to actually get the ball. He was ball watching Martinez. I hate to say it, because we all love Martinez, but he was ball watching. Now, people are going on about Maguire. There's two issues for Maguire. When that ball is pushed across the way that it is and the way that Maguire was facing, he was the wrong side, completely the wrong side. He didn't know that the lad, whoever it was behind him. Maguire sticks his foot out. If he gets any kind of contact on that first phase of play, it's an own goal, unless he manages to steer it away, which was the actual trajectory of the ball until it went across to Matoma. You could then argue that Matari was ball watching as well, because he didn't quite close him down enough. The ball comes back in. Maguire again stretches. He's about a millimetre from getting it. If he touches it, it's a goal anyway. So, these are the fine margins in football. All the time, it's always fine margins. But our positional play at that particular time wasn't great. So my second comment on that is it fair, and I think it is fair, by the way, to expect Onana to come and try and claim that? Because when you see where the ball was, you're looking, it's aiming towards his 6-yard area. That's where he should be active. If he makes an attempt to get that ball, and Maguire did touch it, Maguire doesn't score. That's the first phase of play. But of course he didn't, and he's out of position for the second phase and they go ahead and get the goal. Now, what did we do? Did we do anything better from there onwards then that that could put us in with a shot of winning the game? I think we did. I thought our control play, although it was slow, very slow in phases, our overall play, we were quite tight in our possession. We kept the ball quite nicely. We moved it quite nicely without really penetrating their back four. I'm not even going to get in on having a pop at Ahmad. Can't believe the lad turned out. Fair play to him. That takes a lot of courage. What happened to him? I thought his goal was good. It was going in anyway, irrespective of whether it come off dunk or not. It was going in. So I think at that point we didn't step up and we didn't take those the game by the scruff of the neck, which you should do, and you should move it forward. Then people are having to go at Xerxes, and I couldn't believe what I was reading and what I was hearing Saturday night. Xerxes should have got out of the fucking way. Well, hold on. You've been crying out for a number 9 to be exactly where Xerxes should be, exactly where he should have been when that ball was whipped across. That's where you want him, sliding in, ready to take a punch in the face or whatever to score a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where I've got an error, and you're all going to criticise me now because I've been criticised for it before. Garnacho snatched at it. Now, people will say, hold on, he's got a split second to think. When you look at the play, he doesn't, and he would have seen Xerxes flying in. Okay, so what he should have done, and I'm going to say it, and I don't really care, he should have put a bit of backspin on it and tried to lift it over Xerxes. Now, he didn't know, in all fairness to Garnacho, that it was going to hit Xerxes' knee, because Xerxes' momentum took it across, and he was 2 millimeters away, potentially, from scoring a goal, which may or may not have changed the game. But a real cutting edge Erling Haaland type striker, Mo Salah, even Bobby Firmino, which I know Tom's a fan of his qualities, not of his goal scoring, his qualities.
Yeah.
They would have flipped it. They would have done something. They would have recognised the situation and dealt with it. And that is the difference between elite level football, okay, and not. And whether people like it or not, whether they agree with me or not, that I promise you now, fellas, that is the difference between elite level football. And when you're playing at Manchester United, or you're playing at that level, you're playing at one of the greatest club on the planet. You've got to understand the intricacies and the details of football. As I say, a lot of people won't agree with me. They'll say he didn't have a split second to do. Actually, when you look at it, we look at it from Bruno's position as the ball goes over. Look where Steele was. Okay, we were both on side at the time, but look where Steele was. He was behind Xerxes. There was nobody kind of within 3 yards of Garnacho. You've got to deal with it better. And when you think about it, guys, look at his position where he was. He could have curled it nicely, bent it beautifully over Xerxes and into the net. And this is, it's a harsh criticism. It really is. And I've been absolutely, a lot of people I've spoken to, oh, fucking hell, Stu, you fucking, but that's not it. Messi, he would have lifted it over. Players know. And what was telling more than anything, that Xerxes knew what happened. As soon as he hit his knee, he knew. But Garnacho didn't. You've got to understand football. You've got to get I talk about the basics of football all the time. You have to understand all of this. So my point being, Jarvis and Pappy and Tom, after all of this, I actually aren't too bothered. I don't think it's the most disastrous results of all. I hear a lot of people saying we would have taken a draw. What's the difference between a point and 0 points? 1 point. But the physical problem for us moving forward is going to be if we were to lose on Sunday, where our title challenge is gone because it's insurmountable. You're not going to claw 6 points back against Manchester City. You're not clawing. The way that Arsenal are playing, 6 points back off Arsenal. You're not clawing 5 points back off. 6 points back off Liverpool. Sorry, I was counting us with a point then. And you've got to this early in the season, you've got to look at it and you've got to understand where you are already. So then you start deciding and you start playing differently. So, sorry, I've gone on so long, Jarvis, but I didn't see the game as the same as everybody. A lot of people have. No, I listen to.
Yeah, but we all see the game differently, and I respect that, Stu. And I think personally, I think you're a little bit harsh on Garnacho, but I thought the same thought as you when it comes to he should have done better, but I can't actually blame him because everything happens so fast. He's running in full speed, going against goal, and you played football yourself. Sometimes you only have a split of a second and you only react. You can't think it through.
Everybody does think I'm harsh on Garnacho, and I get it, and I do, and I knew people would say it when I was discussing it. But I looked at it 2 or 3 times, and the telling part is it's not the initial viewpoint of the camera. The telling part is the cross. When they showed the cross from Bruno's angle, that's the real key element. That's the telling part, and at almost level. Garnacho and Xerxes are almost level. Now you could argue he didn't quite. There you go. Look, they're level. See, so when the cross comes in, Zirkzee could have done one or two things. He could have stayed, could have stopped, and he could have left it for Garnacho. Was there any communication? God only knows. But as you play it on, he takes Steele out completely. Zirkzee goes sliding in. One more point is, look how much space Garnacho's got, and that's my key point here. When he goes to 6 yards line, I think he scores about here, doesn't he? Halfway, about 3 yards out, or pushes it back in about 3 yards out. He's got nobody around him to be able to deliver. That's my only criticism. It is harsh, Jarvis, and I've got no issues with it.
No problem,
I've got no problem with it. But you could see it a bit better there. Actually, it kind of makes my point for me.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at it. I have the footage here. I will only play it once because of the rights, and we can study it in slow mo and stop it a couple of times and talk about it. So let's do that. I will add it to the stage, and I will try to go full screen for you guys to see. There you go. No sound. Okay. And we have to stop a couple of times. There you see Ahmad coming, and you have Zirkzee and Garnacho in the middle, and Bruno comes with his overlap here. So you see Brighton only have 3 defenders. We are coming 4 against 3. So we have a huge opportunity right now. Bruno's overlap. And now you see...
Look at the space.
Now you see the space.
Yeah.
And the cross from Bruno, I think it was a little bit
too hard.
A bit off, too hard.
It's too hard.
Is he aiming for Zirkzee, or is he aiming for Garnacho?
He's aiming for Zirkzee, 100%.
Poppy?
See, yeah.
I think he's aiming for either, because like down the same passing lane, it's just a matter of like how much power he puts in the pass. And honestly, the better option is to go for Garnacho, because there's somebody right next to Zirkzee. Like, I think for what Stu is saying is just like, it's not just harsh, it's really extremely harsh. Like, and football is a very fast, high-paced game. The moment when you're not in possession of the ball, your teammate has the ball, you make up your mind on what you're going to do before you even get the ball. And especially in that particular situation, it's like, I know one thing, one job, one assignment. I get that ball, it's going straight into the net, and you don't have time to decide, oh, where's Zirkzee? Is his knee up? Is it that stuff? Is like retrospect, you can talk about it, but like that stuff, you don't put it into consideration when you're making that decision. It's just like the ball is to go straight into the net, and Garnacho did the right thing. It was just very, very, very unfortunate that's how the dice rolled for us.
He did the right thing, but look where the defender is. The second defender, is going directly to Zirkzee, so he sees him as the main problem. He's off him anyway by a yard, but he sees him as the main problem. Yeah. What he should have done, that defender there, if we got anything about him, was to pull one of the two in to try and get in front of Zirkzee, push the furthest one over to Bruno, and then the other one splitting between the two. Mm-hmm. The ball is really for Zirkzee, because he's got everything he needs. He's got 12 yards in front of him with clear air. If Bruno gets that right, Zirkzee scores, and we haven't got the issue. He just got it. He got it wrong. Bruno just got the pass wrong.
Let's see the end of what's happening now. Bruno goes down to the line. The pass comes. You see, it's a little bit too quick for Zirkzee. I don't know. Maybe if he had Højlund there, I think Højlund would have made it. And you see,
now look, clip. You can clip easy there. There's no excuse not to clip it.
You have 2 of your teammates. One is far post. One is like center, middle of the post. Like, you literally say it's your choice. Zirkzee, you can do a dummy if you want. Like the fact that he just sort of just like, didn't put a lot of power in that pass, it just makes me feel like he was actually allowing Zirkzee to do what he wants to do with it, right? And then that ball just sort of, Zirkzee was just not fast enough, or just not in the like he just wasn't in the right position to connect with it. And at that moment, it's even like, it's just a very, 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 very thin margin right now about who that pass is for. And at the end of the day, he knew this is a goal. there's absolutely no chance for us to be. The goalkeeper is beat. The XG of this particular scene right here is so high. Now, when it goes to Garnacho's side, he has to do it from an acute angle. And that's why you do not consider things like chipping. It's more about aiming directly at the target and not necessarily like the height per se.
But that's what makes a great finisher between an average finisher. Because if you just pull it back, just want there, that's roof of the net job any day of the week. It really is. You smash it. Ruud van Nistelrooy pops that roof of the net. Look, I'm not disagreeing with you, Pappy. I get you know what you're saying is exactly right. Mark's made a brilliant comment. And look, we all know this on the panel because everybody knows football. The VAR room knows this as well. Chances are he's come across, he's just shut his eyes and fucking it's as hard as he can, because again that happens. But the reason you go roof of the net really is because of the defender, the final defender in the middle out of the three. He's just slightly high, and you don't know if for whatever reason he doesn't slide the defender, which I'm absolutely astonished with. Because as a defender, you would do that to try and do exactly what Zirkzee did, try and at least do something. So that's why you go roof on that.
Van Hecke is the defender, brilliant defender. I think he had a massive game for Brighton. The Dutch guy.
They defended well. Look, I know it's an unpopular viewpoint of mine. I get it. I do.
Extremely unpopular.
Yeah, but I also I would also expect slightly, because he had the room. That's the only thing I looked at it. But anyway, it's a good talking.
We haven't heard from Tom in a minute. Tom, how did you see it? Do you think it was an error from Garnacho, or was it a misplaced pass from Bruno? Or how did you see it?
I just think if Bruno probably got the pass right with the weight of it, it'd have been a lot better, to be honest with you. And look, like you have already said, like, I'm not going to repeat over it like a broken record, but at the end of the day, with the thing with Zirkzee, you've all been, the fan base has been sitting there saying, why aren't we playing with a number 9? Yeah. You bring a number 9 on at 45 minutes. He does what you want to do for a number 9. He's in and around the box of where you want to be just to put the ball over the line. So all of a sudden, because something's gone wrong, listen, you were all sitting up last week when it scored against Fulham licking his ass. So what, all of a sudden he's made one error. Okay, it's an error that's led to us not having a goal, but I'd rather see the positives of it, to see that he's in the right area that we all want him to be. When for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, guys, we've been sat here saying, why do we never have somebody who follows the ball into the goal? Yep. Why do we never do that? But we do have that player. You've just seen the blueprint for it. Okay, it's cost you a goal. But the only thing I'm going to say, guys, is that one error, when I characterise that for probably the rest of this season, will probably mean that he's going to score 3 or 4 goals like that. But the difference is he will be onside for those goals when he's in that area to tap the ball in. That's the thing that I'm looking at as the positive for this. And those 3 or 4 goals, guys, will make up the points that you just lost against Brighton. So I'm not so much worried about the error that he's made in that regard. Listen, he's in the right area. What do you want from him? At the end of the day, Garnacho, okay, played it across goal, got the goal, fair enough. Bruno,
Tom, sorry to interrupt you, but I think I've seen this before. We had a Dutch striker called Wout Weghorst, and he was always late on the crosses, always. He never were in time when it comes to being in front of goal when the crosses came. Do you think we have the same problem with this Dutch striker?
No.
I don't personally think so, no. Because I think Zirkzee is more of a footballer than Weghorst was. That's the thing that I would say.
But this goes down to pace, pace into the box.
Of course it comes down to pace, Jarvis. But listen, you can have, record speed in football. If you don't know where to be at the right time, there's no point in having that quick pace. Yeah, you might be able to get there or get in and around the area, but if you're not in the pinpoint area where the ball's going to be, it's pointless having pace. It's as simple as that. There's a player who we're going to discuss about tonight.
Dan James.
Dan James is one of those players. But another player that I was just going to say about was Sterling. Sterling at City, he was always that player who got in and around that 18-yard box, with Pep. And he used Pep. And I think at one point, he was one of the most highly rated wingers in Europe. He was on all the top listings for goal contributions, passes, goals within the 18-yard box. I think it was in Pep's first or second season, if I'm not mistaken. He was on the top listings for all the top leagues in Europe for it. So players who have that football IQ mindset are going to be in the right areas. And that's what I like about what we've done with Xerxes is, listen, I think everybody, right, if you've gone into this summer and you said, name a number 9 that you probably want out there, nobody would have sat there and said Joshua Xerxes is a player that they probably would have wanted, if we're being honest. Because he's not what we prescribe as being a high-profile name. So a lot of us probably won't watch him because he's not a high-profile name. Whereas where he's come from, he's at a club that's developed a little bit over time with a decent Maggi and Thiago Motta, and then he's been put on a little bit of a stage where he's playing week in, week out at a club that plays against decent opposition in Italy. So the quality's there to play against. He's testing himself. He's coming to a different league. Listen, let's not get on the back about this, guys. Højlund last year, he had a similar sort of story against Brighton. He's got, who knows if that Brighton goal would have gone in Old Trafford last year if he would have got up and running and up to speed. The difference is, I'm not so worried about Xerxes because I just think in the long term, guys, the model that we've gone down, we've basically spent 100 million in the last 12 to 18 months on 2 strikers for the next 10 years. That's pretty much what we've done. But my argument is, Højlund, I think if you develop him properly and he avoids injuries, will turn out to be a top goal scorer. But he needs a bit of time to adapt and actually get settled in properly because he's only 20 years old. It's coming over into a different environment and culture space. And Xerxes is the same thing. But the Weghorst thing, listen, we all know what the Weghorst thing was. It was an emergency. We needed somebody. Somebody had to come. But the difference is now, maybe 12 months before, guys, Weghorst would have been a player that we probably looked at signing permanently. And some people even sat there and said, why aren't we going to try and sign him permanently after the loan? I personally didn't see why. But people just saw it as, oh, well, it was okay linking play up. You know, he had one decent game in a number 10 position against Barcelona. What does that matter? It's one game. And that's all that I'm saying with this with Xerxes, guys. It's one game. So when people want to criticise him and everything, fine. Criticise him when he does stuff like this week in, week out. But he's not going to do things week in, week out like this. I hope, for our sake anyway, and I believe so, from the comment that I've made, that it'll happen 4 or 5 times this instant, but he'll be onside for those 4 or 5 times. And it'll just be as simple as tap the ball in the net.
He was unlucky, Tom, to be honest. And the other thing that I did want to point, and I didn't point it out, was the other thing about lifting the ball over Xerxes is if he hadn't got it just in front of him, the chances are you're going to hit the side of Xerxes, you're going to hit his arm because of the way that Xerxes was moving into the box. And Tom's right, that's the way we want him to be. So that's where you got a second.
I mean,
I'm not saying it would have happened.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it could have.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it was the way my summary of the game. I'm not going to go into it too much anyway because we can move on to some other topics and stuff soon. But the only thing that I'm going to say about it is, look, we had the chances in the game to win the game. There was the chances there. But the only thing I'm going to say is, hopefully, in the grand scheme of things, later on in the season, we're going to learn from these mistakes. And rather than maybe push for the game going forward, listen, get to 80 minutes, think, okay, maybe we're in a different environment. Maybe you're away at Brentford. Away at Brentford's not an easy game. Or you're away at wherever, Newcastle. Yeah. You have this same situation that you have against Brighton. But you're against a team where they can kill you at any stage in that game. The only thing that I think hurts United fans a lot more with this game is the lateness of how they scored. And there was no time in the game to ever try and even get back into it. That's what I think hurt for this game more so. But hopefully we can get through maybe in the next couple of games. And there isn't this sort of stigma that's going to stick with us where we're getting late into games, guys, and we're sort of thinking, oh, squeaky bum time, let's try and tighten the game up. But the only thing that I've said, guys, is I wanted to bring players like Delay, like Mejbri, like if we're bringing Ugarte in, guys, for this exact reason. When you get to 80 minutes, if you want to hold on, okay, hold on. You've got players who you can bring off the bench, guys, who will help you hold on. That's what I want from this team. if we're going to get to those games, guys, and listen, the better case of it is we're at the start of the season. It's game week 2, so it doesn't mean a lot. But the only thing going on late, if this was in say May time, guys, okay, yeah, you can panic if you're in top 4 race or whatever. Fair enough. But we're in game week 2. There's a couple of new players. They need to adapt. They need to learn. They need to adjust. And at the end of the day, Xerxes, for me, out of all the players that we've bought so far, I'm going to give him the most freedom and the most time to develop and settle in out of all of them, because he's never been at a big club. He's never been outside of Italy. Well, he's been to Italy and Germany and stuff, but he's never settled in a league before for like 5 years. The others like Mejbri and De Ligt, Ugarte, even in that case, guys, these people have been settling in leagues for like 3-4 years, even in Portugal or in Germany or Holland. These players have been settled. He's not been. He's been on the move to here, there, and everywhere. Every couple of years. Hoyland was the same, guys. He came from the Norwegian club, went to was it in Switzerland? I think it was Rapid Vienna. Then he went to Atalanta for 12 months. Then he come to Man United. They've never settled anywhere.
Salzburg.
Salzburg. Well, there you go. Let them settle. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying to people. Right? Let these players settle. The youngest bulk of this squad, anyway. The more experienced players like De Ligt doesn't need time to settle, guys. Give him a week. Let him move his kids over, his family, his missus. Get a nice apartment in Manchester. He'll be fine. He's settled for years. Settled in Germany, settled in Italy. Okay, he didn't play his best football, but we understand that the environments in those football clubs, the expectations are big in those clubs and in those leagues. Fair enough at United it is, but I've already been over this before about De Ligt anyway. When you go into a dressing room with Chiellini, when he's been a leader at Ajax and you're captain, and you go into a dressing room with Chiellini and Bonucci and you want to be a leader, it's not going to work very well for you. Same thing when you go to Bayern and you do the same thing there. The difference is, if he comes off the bench, guys, he can be a leader in this team that helps us shore a game up. Because we lack leaders, we lack characters, we lack leadership 100%. At the back. We do. 100%. And that's what I'm saying, guys. Where you come to this game later in the season against somebody else, it's going to benefit us. But the only thing that I think hurts more so is just how late it was in the game. But okay, the only criticism that I would have said for the whole game, we saw one half of good football, and I think one half was a bit topsy-turvy. But again, the point that Ten Hag made, when I have a fully fit squad, you'll see what I'm trying to do. He's pretty much got that. Barring Hoyland and Lenny Euro, he's got that. So, okay, it's only 2 games, but I want to see consistently for a couple more games now. Let's actually see a style. We've seen this Brighton manager's style in 2 games. He whooped Everton, and he gave Ten Hag a little bit of a lesson in that second half because they gave us the runaround. But again, because consistently on the front line, guys, we're just going to have to let some players settle, let the dust settle from this game, and move on from it. But I just hope we're not going to be here in a couple of months' time, guys, talking about the same issue that we had game week 2. Hopefully this gets ironed out.
Yeah, that's the thing. And we did it last season too. After the Wolves game, we had the same big gap in the midfield. So we don't want to do that. I hope we will improve and learn from our mistakes. Well said, Tom. We have some breaking news from Stafford Gamer TV. He said breaking: Man United officially flying to Paris now to close the deal, and we have some footage. It's on YouTube. You see Jason Wilcox on Manchester Airport flying to Paris, probably to finish the Ugarte deal. So we will get finally the Ugarte saga done. Are you guys happy with that? Do you think we will?
Do you not laugh at those? Do you not laugh at those pictures though? I mean, some moron takes a picture of Jason Wilcox with a bag. And he's automatically flying to Paris. It just cracks me up. I mean, that is.
It'd be funny if it were a lookalike, wouldn't it? And
I know.
Carrington tomorrow in his Range Rover.
Is that used to?
Yeah, me and Tom work, in the journalist. We know what we've seen that plenty of times, haven't we, Tom? We know what
that. Flying to Paris.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I've got the beard. Yeah, it's. I mean, he probably is. He probably is at Manchester Airport. I don't see any planes out there. I see greenery.
Private airfield. It's not a private airfield.
I laugh at stuff like that. I'm sorry. whoever's sent it, I apologize.
The scrutiny is hilarious. Like, we'll be tracking flights from Paris, any private jet
from
Paris. We're gonna have the flight information, and we'll be looking to see when.
Oh no, the flight is delayed 30 minutes.
somebody will superimpose Wilcox going up the plane and a picture of Ugarte's head coming out of his bag. That's what you normally do, put him out his briefcase with suitcase. I've smuggled him back in, this is it. But I love stuff like that. I do. But the best on transfer deadline day, when me great grand saw Ugarte and Greg's buying his vegan sausage roll on his way to his, that's what you get in the UK. Pappy, it's honestly, it's ridiculous. But
only at Manchester United.
Nobody else cares, do they? Victor Osimhen, could be coming into Chelsea for like 80 million or whatever. But nobody tracks his flight.
Right.
It's the segment though of the game, and we move on to the latest gossip and transfer. If you don't have anything else to add from the game, I don't know.
Jarvis, let me just quickly chime in on the game. Like, the even though I didn't watch it again, as I said, I saw the highlights, and then I think in retrospect, there's a couple of things like that Tom has kind of talked about it as well. It's just like, one, we all know that Brighton, out of 5 games we've played them, we did not win 4 times. There was some draws, but it was only 1 win, and every team in the Premier League, almost every team has a boogie team, a team that they just can't beat for some reason. Maybe it's sort of like the system, even though Brighton has had different coaches, etc., but it's just like you go to the Amex Stadium, and then it's just not easy. So there should have been something in the team mentality that's a little bit more cohesive, that, look, there's a moment where you close shop and say, all right, how about we just go for the draw? Because we started this game off about half an hour into the game, Welbeck scores. It took us an hour for that Amad Diallo goal. And even, prior to that, whatever, is when you're 1-0 down, you're still in the game, but the moment like it gets to 88th minute, 85th minute, there has to be something that, all right, guys, how about we just go home with this 1 point? If we can get to that moment where the team synchronizes and sort of says, it shows some harmony, some cohesion, that, we're not going to be trying and win this game by the last minute type of thing. Because for me, this game sort of was giving a little bit of Chelsea. You remember Chelsea last season, where at a time, like, Chelsea end up winning the game, and it's because, like, I don't know if it was Dallo who was also bombing forward. There was somebody. Our team was a little bit disjointed. Some people really wanted to go for the goal, but there's a moment where you just close shop and say 1 point is okay. It's enough. It's the Amex Stadium, and then you take it from there, But the second thing I want to mention is the fact that what really, really, really changes this game is just like very thin margins, and it was just schoolboy defending. Our box defending on both occasions was just bad. It was just really, really amateurish, and while you can take away the fact that we had a good performance in general, or like just below good performance, in general, but like those 2 moments were just so critical, because you need to keep the concentration level all the way sharp up until the final whistle. We had just made a couple of substitutions. McTominay was one of the fresher players on the pitch, and McTominay was also the closest person to the guy who scored, Pedro, right? And for that reason, like, I remember after the game, I was a little bit like animated, saying, "Where was Dallo? That's the left back position." But actually, we were in a set piece defending. The opposition tries to move you around in a set piece situation. Even if you're a left back, sometimes you can be asked to cover an area that's on a right back, and then
it was a zonal defense. We had 4 or 5 guys zonal and 5 tracking. So it's a setup.
It's exactly. So you got to take care of the zone that you have been assigned to do. So somebody clearly was not looking at the danger, looking at the zone that they have been assigned. We call it
ball watching.
You can't tell it. You can't tell me.
Try to learn the kids not. Okay, pay attention. Don't just follow the ball.
Yeah, it's not like nobody said, "Hey, don't forget about." Forget about the far post in this moment. Nobody ever receives that instruction in a team. It's like, I'm sure there has to be some sort of like, instructions that are given to all the players that this is your area, but also you have to look out for the danger, even if you're assigned to a certain area of the pitch. So those really small margins, at the end of the day, they can be a good wake-up call for us moving forward, because you make this mistake now versus Brighton, you don't repeat it for the next 7 games. Our defending is now even gone a margin better, and it's actually made that margin may just be the difference versus the next team. That's really what I wanted to say about it. And at the end of the day, I feel like we are capable of going on a good run after, like, say, if we get a good result versus Liverpool. This particular game versus Brighton may just be the wake-up call that we needed on the way to whatever, how many more games left? 36 more Premier League games.
But a quick question, Poppy. Are we looking for a good result or a good performance against Liverpool?
Both.
Yeah.
Okay, both. So it's not just down to the result. If we play terrible and win 1-0, then we're not okay.
Yes.
Just
go ahead.
Just picking up on what Pappy said, he's absolutely correct in his assessment of our defending. When you look at where Dingra was, he was about 5-6 yards into our penalty spot, roughly around the corner of it, and he dinks a lovely ball in. Everybody else is watching Dingra. They're not watching what's behind you. 3 players or 2 players are in behind you. What's criminal about that is you always defend the front and the near with one extra man, because it's far more difficult to actually score a header from the centre, because you've got to direct the header. Whereas when you're at the front post on the near or the far post, as the ball came in, it was basically a case of just heading it back where the ball came from and getting a bit on target. So that was our main issue on there. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, and I'm going to get stamped on again, but our good old mate Delict was ball watching. Our good old mate, he was ball watching. Delict was. I'm sorry. I don't mean to say it, but anyway, it doesn't matter if we win Sunday. You're right. Nobody's gonna care about what happens against Brighton, because we're kind of like back in the mix, aren't we? So we're one of those. But I just thought I mentioned, Pappy, you were spot on there, because that is you do have to defend the front and the near post for that particular reason, so you can stop the diagonal ball coming in.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. 3. That's not even defending the back post. There you go. So anyway,
how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys in the box. Everybody's watching the ball.
Nobody's looking behind them, and they're all ball watching. They're all
7 versus 3.
So the guy who actually scored and who's got highlights in his hair, Trev, you're absolutely right. He's like got his hand up. He's thinking, just dink it over, mate. I'm not missing this. And do you know what? Do you know the interesting thing about that? And I've got to say this, and again, the VAR room is going to criticise me. Anana's actual position there is perfect, isn't it? When you look at the overall play, but he actually doesn't need to be there, because there's no way Dingra is going to curl it in. He's not going to get round too many. He could actually be closer to where Delict is, and if he was a bit further out, sorry, he's got more chance of claiming the ball. Anyway, look, anyone can talk about it when there's a still picture in front of you, can't they? But
of course, in hindsight,
in hindsight, a wonderful thing. You're right to point it out, Pappy, and our good old man Tom. He's not even looking.
I would not want to play for Stu as if he was my coach.
But actually, Pappy, when and Tom will know this, and we all know this. This is the type of thing you actually do. Look, and you analyse the game after, and you pull this type of picture up, and you just say to the guys, you look at it, you point at it, and you say to the team, explain, as the gaffer, explain. And then they just look at you blank, because they've got, the picture paints 1,000 words. Nobody's got an excuse there, have they? Zero person's got an excuse. Nobody. And there's how many players are in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, including Anana, all looking at Dingra.
They do. So
Amazing.
yeah, we're not happy with the game. I think we can improve, but I would say I give this to pre-season. We're still early in the season. I think we will come good. But the problem is we have seen this before in the dying minutes, and our away statistics is we have more losses than wins. We have 16 wins and 17 losses away with Ten Hag, and it's a reoccurring issue. So how should Ten Hag fix this? But and why is this always happening? You know, is it down to the mentality? Is it down to squad quality? Is it down to, I don't know, bad luck or tactical issues? I don't know.
It's on-field brains. I mean, we've just proven that it's on-field brains. Now, we said this a lot, haven't we, Jarvis? We talked about player responsibility. Now, nobody looking at that picture, even in the VAR room, could turn around and say that was a performance of brains, because there's a complete lack of brain in every
so
single.
When we travel, we leave our brains at home. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, so yeah, basically, because I mean, Dallo must have been, tying his bootlace over at left back at that point, because I don't think he was in that particular picture. Now, De Ligt, bless him, has gone for the default arms behind the back when he's got no chance of getting a shot in, because actually those two defenders around him had got him pretty much. The only thing he could do from there is loft it, and it was a wonderful cross, by the way. But you couldn't really miss. So it's Ten Hag talks about in-game management, and I talk about it all the time, guys. It's down to the players to manage that. It's down to the players to understand what's unfolding. And when 9 players are looking at the ball and not looking around them at this level of football, criminal. Criminal. I don't think any of us can defend it, can we?
No.
Well, we couldn't defend it.
Well, we could do better than that, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah. The old saying is, "I'm saw me ground."
But the thing. I think one of the reasons why we concede goals late at games, I think Ten Hag never pulls the emergency brake. He wants to win the game, and he's a gambler, especially in the dying minutes. And again, I think we could defend it better. But is this a problem with Ten Hag's mentality that he always wants to win? Sometimes you need to just accept it and take a draw.
Well, I'm just going to quickly butt in again.
Yeah.
Well, what's Onana doing? And Onana can see if he looks to the left exactly what's about to unfold. Exactly about what's to unfold. It's not hard. He just looks behind him, looks left. By the way, lads, there's 3 behind you. Just I'll mention that if you don't mind. Usher him back a little bit. But he didn't. So is that down to Ten Hag, or is that actually down to the players? It's the players for me. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Wizard has a good comment to say the brain gets tired and switches off, and you don't have the structure and conserve energy. I think that's a big problem because our intensity is too high.
Yeah, but Brighton's brain didn't switch off, did it? Brighton's brain carried on for 94 minutes.
Yeah, it's true.
That wouldn't happen at the mighty Tipton Town. We'd be in trouble.
No, you're never tired. You're like,
I'd be tired. I'd be shattered. I'd be like, oh, God.
What you just said, just really, I didn't think about it until now that like Onana should be screaming far post or something like, I don't expect him to move away from gut in the near post, because like if Andingra is able to hit it and then there's a deflection, you gotta be able to sort of like be available to cover the near post if needed. But somebody should be shouting, Zexy, go to the far post, McTominay far post. Something has to be happening there from somebody who's got a bit of a better peripheral view of the situation. Now, you pointed out like De Ligt is hands behind the back, traditional center back position when you're defending, and I think he's doing the right job. There is that guy who's in front of Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay's hips, he should be able to see that there's more danger behind me. It's more McTominay than De Ligt for me, and not that the blame game is important.
Do you know something, Pappy? Though, do you know it actually hamstrings your movements when you do that? When you put as a defender, it really hamstrings your movement, because if you try doing it now just in your chair, you can't really move too much. You certainly can't move your feet.
True.
You can't, and it really hamstrings your movement. But you're spot on about McTominay. And this is where a quick look, it just needs a split-second look, doesn't it, to really understand what's happening behind you. And to not understand what's happening behind you is absolutely, Tom, it's criminal, isn't it, Tom? Criminal.
Yeah. Of course
I just have to be firm because we are 1 hour into the show already, and we don't have a lot of time. I just want to try to keep it to a 2-hour show tonight, and I want to move on to the next segment because I have created a new segment on this show called The Devil's Advocate. And now I will pick a topic, and I will divide us into two. And we will start, and we have to play the devil's advocate. So let me play the intro for you guys, and we will play the game. Devil's advocate. Mick just put this through in 10 minutes right before the show. So thank you, Mick. Brilliant. The devil's advocate. Yes. First of all, since we are 3 on the panel right now, Tom is going to leave a little bit early because he has made other agreements. I don't know what you call it.
Well,
double booked.
A double booked.
A double booked
by accident.
So first of all, we will do this. I call it the 3 key position to strengthen. Let's just assume that we get Ugarte in as the DM, but we need 3 more positions to strengthen. I have made those positions in my mind, and that's left back, an additional midfielder, or a striker. And now you have to play the devil's advocate and tell me why it's necessary to sign that role, and who would be the ideal candidate. Who want to go first? If you go first, you get the time. You have the luxury of choosing one of the 3. If you go last, you have the time to think.
What position?
Go first. One position.
What position did you say again, Jarvis? Sorry,
left back, additional midfielder, or a striker.
Right. What's the priority?
You decide.
Yeah, it's up to you. It's up to you.
Okay. Left back.
And you have to play the devil's advocate and tell us why this has to be the first priority and who we should sign.
I'll give you 2 words. I'll give you 3 words. Left back, Luke Shaw. That's all I'm going to say. That's my argument.
He's right.
That's my argument.
And you have to present a compelling case.
He's done
That's my compelling case, yeah. 3 words. I'm a man of few words, guys.
Since when?
Well, I don't disagree with that, actually.
No. If I'm being serious, look, the injuries that we've had at left back, it's been a problem for 2 seasons now. When you have an issue you can have an issue for 1 season, and most clubs then replace it they find a solution to that problem in 1 summer. We've done that where last summer we had no recognised number 9. Martial, you can argue if he was a number 9 or not. I always said that he wasn't. I thought he was a wide player that was converted to play there because we had fucking nobody. The same thing with Rashford. Is he a left-sided player? Is he a striker? I don't know. I always thought he was more of a wide player than he was a striker, but we persevered and we played him through the middle for whatever reason. Look, sure, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The best form of ability in football is availability. And he misses, I would say, 60% of your season. That's probably the minimum. The maximum can go up to about 80% of a season, like what happened last year. I barely saw the guy play football at all in a Man United shirt. And I've made this point anyway. If he wants to have a successful career, and I'm giving him advice based upon it, whether he stays at Man United or not, if he wants to keep his career going for as long as possible, I would say adapt and play and try and be a centre-back at this stage of his career now than be a full-back, because he blows far too many hamstrings running up and down that left-hand side. And listen, if he came in and he said, look, I'll play as a left-sided centre-back, I would make the case now, guys, he won't pull as many hamstrings, because you're not running up and down the pitch, you're running side to side, dueling. But at the end of the day, if you have a partner next to him, like a Lenioro or a Delit or somebody, guys, who understands that role, Martinez is another one, but he doesn't have the quickness, say, as the other two that I've just mentioned. The player specifics of it, we can just go there. And you said that if I have to give a name or something, Jarvis, didn't you? If I had to give a name. Yeah, if I had to give a name, I'm not going to do this like where people go off on one and they'll say, you know, Alphonso Davies or something like that. I'm going to go a little bit more left field. And I would say something like Rico Henry at Brighton. I like Rico Henry at Brighton. You know, he's 20, I think he was 23 last year. He's 24 now. He was very unlucky last year, to be fair to him. He had a bit of a long layover from an injury. Basically, he had a minor injury, which was for, I think it was supposed to be over 2 weeks. He then aggravated it back when he did rehabilitation, trying to prepare for pre-season, and then he missed I think he missed six months of the whole entire season. But it was an aggravation to the injury. He's had surgery since, and so far from what medical tests say and everything and that, he's got a clean bill of health to play, and he should be fully fit for the whole season. So it's a minor injury. Aggravated it, had a bit of surgery, and he's fully fixed and on the mend now. There's no concerns of having a reconcern or that he might have this recurring issue later on in the line. But no, I would have said left back's probably more priority out of everything.
Okay, well put.
That's my advocate instead of 3 words.
Tom's devil's advocate. Who want to go second?
I'll give Pappy the honours.
Sure. Even though I agree with Tom, I'll play devil's advocate.
No, it's devil's advocate. You have to play the role. Play the role.
I'll play the role.
I can't believe Tom's gone with a left back. What's going on? Come on, Tom.
I'm gonna say, Tom, listen. We are really, even though we think that we're good up front, we need a striker. We need somebody to just put the chances in. Like right now, Xerxes, what do we do if Xerxes gets injured? We're in real big trouble. We just got rid of Scott McTominay, who probably would be an additional body to be able to play as a second striker. But I really feel like if we go in, we're not fully stacked.
I'm sorry, Tom laughing. Maybe
what, Tom?
No, the fact of how you're trying to shop this and wing this.
You don't even believe your own words, fella. Do I sound like I believe my own words?
You don't even believe it.
It's the devil's advocate.
No, honestly think about it this way.
Okay,
so if Victor, like, I'm thinking about Victor Gyökeres. That's like one striker.
Oh, yeah.
Just because we need. So one of the things that I noticed versus Brighton was the fact that like the I think even Jarvis alluded to this. The focal point up front. I'm remembering this phase of play where we went long ball. Rashford, his instinct is to just flick the ball forward. With the header, he won the header, and he's just like flick the ball forward, and there was nobody pushing the opposition center backs. So I don't know if right now Højlund, obviously, if he was playing, he probably would have been closer to the center backs than who was. Yeah, then you know what I mean. So we need like another striker in there. And there's people that say, "Oh, we have enough strikers," but at the end of the day, like even traditionally, Sir Alex Ferguson used to would have a quality striker that somebody would just say, "Oh, this person should have started," because they are actually they're like like a presence up front, a target man.
Yeah, you want the focal point. Someone
a focal point that can pin opposition center backs back and create more space for your other your 8s to come into, or your number 10 to go into. So I really like the profile of Victor Gyökeres. I think his link up play is nice. You can tell he's also like robust, and somebody like that is what I'd advocate for.
Okay. Well,
what are you two talking about? Clearly, we need a midfielder, a deep-lying midfielder. I mean, clearly we need that. And I would like to delve back into my bag of tricks because my profile of players never really changed too much. The height has, but I would have taken Marcel Brozovic 5 years ago all day long with the way that he played. He would fit into our current team brilliantly. And we're looking for that type of player. And of course, the player that would have stepped into the breach had we not lost our nuts would have been my good old mate Polina.
I knew that was coming out.
Tom knew all this was coming out. Yeah, we all knew it was coming out. VAR knew it was coming out. Yeah. But of course, he decided to go and play for our good old mates over at Bayern Munich, which, was 12 months, too long in coming. So let's be clear and let's be really honest now with everybody. None of us would have gone banging for Ugarte to come in 12 months ago. Let's be fair. I think we've all got to be honest about that, because I particularly, well, you might have been, Pappy, but I particularly wasn't. He didn't strike me as our type of player. I liked at the time Moises Caicedo, as we all know. Tchouaméni could have played in and around as a 6. Camavinga. We know the types of players that we liked. Big, tall, rangy, good with the ball, could play it out. But they've got nothing to Ugarte. What I've seen about Ugarte, and the real telling thing about him for me, and this is where the kind of Brozovic links come in a little bit and the Polina links come in a little bit. He's got the ability to win a tackle, win a header, and move the ball. I'm not saying he's with any great pace, but with stride. Pappy mentioned stride a couple of weeks ago, and I applauded you on that, because you're absolutely right. People don't understand stride. They talk about pace, they don't get stride, and stride is better than pace sometimes, the way that he's able to move the ball. But with that added option, and little Brozovic did exactly the same, and Polina could do it. He could step into centre half to cover an onward moving centre half like Lenny Yoro, for example. So you've got that. So if Yoro was to come out with the ball, Ugarte could step in and hold that position for him. Not particularly play centre half, but knows enough to be able to play and hold it until Yoro gets himself back.
Yeah,
and that's a key element to playing centre half. We don't necessarily have that, and we don't necessarily. I don't think we've had that at all. Even Roy Keane never used to be able to do that. He would be our destroyer. So if Ugarte offers us that, and he could be a little bit quicker in his play than our good old friend Casemiro, but I'm not saying Casemiro has had a particularly bad start to the season, because I think he's had a pretty decent start to the season. I think if we were to lose Casemiro now, we're in problems. We've got big problems. But if we were to bring Ugarte in alongside Casemiro, and then the wider midfield balance, I think we're a better balanced outfit. So for me, that would be my argument. But I'd rather have Polina in than Ugarte. I wonder if we could get Ugarte in, right? Then get over to Bayern and say, look, we did a deal for, any chance we could have Polina. I think Ugarte would fit you better. Polina comes in. Not going to happen. Plus, don't forget Polina is 29, isn't he? So 28, 29. So he doesn't fit our player profile, and that's it. But I think looking at the VAR room, Mark added a extra twang to it by getting rid of Monsieur Rashford.
Yes. I saw that comment too. That was a good comment. I will try to find. Oh well, I can't.
Yes.
There's so many comments I can't even find. So yeah,
he isn't flawless. It's a good question. It's a good point, actually. You're right. He isn't flawless, but Blitz, it's fair to say we've not seen him play in English games, so it's fair to say that we don't 100% know his game. Just what we've seen and what we, as soon as we were linked with him, everybody's eyes on the Copa America. Pappy saw more of the Copa America than everybody, but we were all glued to that, and we were looking to see how he did, and he was tremendous in his execution of most games that I saw, even when I was pissed up in Barcelona. He was absolutely brilliant.
And Riot B comes in with a follow-up question on the midfield. What if Casemiro gets injured? Then
that was my I covered that. That was my my part of devil's advocate. So yes,
but
so
we're not done with devil's advocate yet, Stu. I have one more topic before we.
Well, no, I won that clearly. I won that argument.
No. That's the part of the game where we poke holes in the argument. Let's start with you. No. Listen. No, you're talking about stride. You're talking about like listen. Kobbie Mainoo is a better strider than like say for example like during the Brighton game, it really appeared to me like, wow, Kobbie Mainoo is such an important tool in terms of evading the opposition's press. The way he's just able to do it, like in just like a quick little decision of like a small little. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you.
Brendan.
We have to judge. Who won the devil's advocate?
Bloody hell, Tom.
But listen, but like I heard I what I liked about if we get Ugarte, bring Kobbie Mainoo closer to Ugarte, then maybe that also just would mean that Bruno is the only advanced midfielder and that also tweaks Ten Hag's whole system, But I just feel like Kobbie is so young, we can mold that like skill set that he has. Dev, shut up. We can mold the skill set that Kobbie Mainoo has because like it's such an important small little detail that like two players try and press him. It's really hard to get the ball off of him. So
I thought you were right there, Pappy. Do you think he got tired about 70 minutes in, Mainoo? It's just a genuine question. It's just a question.
He's got the fatigue. He's got the Euros fatigue now, and also I don't know if you guys also realize even though Garnacho did not play as much in the Copa, like these guys didn't really have a proper break.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah,
we have to manage that minutes. They're young. Anyway, let's talk.
I would say it's pretty even. It's pretty even, and you all got a vote from the VAR room, our beloved VAR room. But I have one more controversial topic before we end the devil's advocate, and it's very easy. I will just show you a picture, and you will figure it out. We have this guy or this guy. It's Sterling or Jadon Sancho. So you guys, you have to make a case for who do you want to be our future Man United winger and how they will affect our team and be the best signing out of those two guys. And you have to really stick to in their corner and bring out their best attributes and what they can contribute to our club.
Who goes first?
Is Tom still with us, or
Tom? Are you here?
Oh, he's probably
no. Okay, so it's between you two guys.
Go on. I'll go first on this one.
Time for a sub. Okay, go ahead.
Who have you got who did you want to make an argument for?
No, you pick a player and stick with it. There's no time to be nice.
My argument is going to be, and it won't surprise you, but it might do. It's going to be for Raheem Sterling. Now, first and foremost, let me be clear about this. Let me be very, very clear to the VAR room and everyone who's listening. I'm not a huge fan of Raheem Sterling, but if you look at output over the last 3 years, Sterling over Sancho, they're not in the same bracket. They're just not in the same bracket. Good old Sancho decided to, he had his problems, and fair play to Ten Hag. I thought he dealt with it very well with that initial 3-month period where he gave him time off to reflect or have his mental health problems. And we've all got issues on a personal level, and we forget that actually a lot of the time when it comes to footballers. We don't feel they have a life outside the pitch that we could, kind of resonate with. So we don't kind of understand the pressures that they have with family and certain things. But if you're looking at output, and I think you should only measure a footballer when you're talking about other footballers on output, he's nowhere to be seen, Sancho. And that is his problem. That was his problem. So what would Raheem Sterling bring to you, apart from a dainty, fairy kind of running style that he has? He is very, very quick. He's sharp-minded. He can beat a player. He will offer the team, whether they like it or not, he'll offer them pace. He'll offer a real pressing, and he'll press right across the front three, which he will do, but he won't score that many goals. So are you, but at this point in time, and I know Pappy, will have his say, but you're not replacing like for like in goals either, because Sancho hasn't got a goal output in him. So actually, you're probably replacing someone who's not limited in his ability, because I think actually Sancho's a better all-round footballer than Sterling.
Yeah.
But he's not produced it.
Poking holes in your own argument, but keep going.
No, I'm not, because you know as well as I do, Pappy.
You advocate for
Struggling
Sterling.
here. I know I'm struggling. Okay, I'm not going to mention Sancho again. Sterling, right? He'll score us 25 goals guaranteed. No, he won't. I just think what he will do, he will offer us this energy that we don't have. And if you were to at the Brighton game, if you were to bring him on alongside Garnacho, and we got energy on both wings, it could have been a completely different game. He is finished. I don't think he's the player that he was at City, but at the end of the day, he's got to go somewhere. You go to Crystal Palace and absolutely rip it up for them. Louis Zaha style. He could go to Bournemouth and rip it up for them, and replace the goals that Solanke popped away 19 last season. He might come up with, but if he comes up with 4 or 5, 6, 7, even 8 goals, that's 8 goals more that we didn't have last season. We finished on a negative, everybody, if you remember. It's 8 goals more, I feel, than Sancho is likely to deliver.
I just want to give you another addition. We have seen Sterling being actually a system player under Pep. And he performed under Pep. He had more of a freedom playing at Chelsea, and it never worked. So I think actually you are right, Stu. Not only the devil's advocate, but I think he will work in a system, in a set 100%. System.
He will. People don't like him, and I get it. I see it, and I understand it. And let's be honest, Jarvis and Pappy, let's be honest, fellas. He wouldn't be anybody's choice. Let's be clear. But he is.
Don't undermine the devil's advocate.
No.
I get what you're saying.
And that's my argument, which I think I've won, so I wouldn't bother having a pop.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, because Botswana Poppy is going to play the devil's advocate for Jadon Sancho.
Come on, son. Here he goes.
It's going to be a tough one to sell, but here we go. So Jadon Sancho, guys, we know he has a higher ceiling than Raheem Sterling, hands down. Jadon Sancho is a player right now. We're not seeing the best of him at Man United because he's the type of player that you actually need to build a team around. He's not somebody that particularly excels in goals or assists per se, but he plays the pass before the pass. He is somebody that he's a confidence player. When you build a team around this type of player, he feels like chief chance creation responsibility is up to him. And Jadon Sancho is not able to play that role right now because we have Bruno Fernandes. That is why we're not seeing the best of him. We watched the Champions League just a few months ago. Jadon Sancho, for certain moments in the Champions League campaign, he was actually also contributing a lot to a team that did not have like one chance creator. Dortmund, it was the right space for him because also he felt wanted. So if the ecosystem that is controlled by a manager who is not really necessarily making him feel like the man, you will not see the best of Jadon Sancho. And the other point that I want to make sure that we all understand is that Jadon Sancho is younger than Sterling. He's significantly younger, and he can continue to evolve and better himself if given the right conditions to flourish. He can play left wing so well, better than Marcus Rashford. We saw him this preseason, all the games. Last preseason, all the games, false 9. We saw him in the Champions League on right wing. Such a versatile player that is so important to chance creation. And the only reason why we're not seeing the best of him right now is because the team is not built around him. So that is what one case that I want to. That's the case that I want to make for Jadon Sancho and say, if he is really appreciated, we'll truly see the best of Jadon.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to.
Welcome Mark to the panel. Tom has another show. So I will just let Mark be the judge and say who was the best devil's advocate contender.
Just before Mark judges, I would like to make one point in favour of Sancho, because I think it's quite important that we do this. It's quite an unfair choice, but they both got their different things. But he's one of those players, Sancho, that you would wring his fucking neck if you're in the same side with him, because you know, as Pappy said, of the talent. That's the problem I've got with him. That is my whole issue with Jadon Sancho. I know what he can deliver, and he just hasn't done it. I would fucking kill him. It would wind me up so much. You would have to, yeah. So I applaud yours, Pappy, because I think everything you said is fucking spot on, mate. I really do. I think you're right.
What does the jury think, though?
Well, I still won.
I hate to say it, you know, Stu, I was back in here, you know, even I don't like the best bone in Raheem Sterling, bro. And then when we talk about Liverpool, then City, then Chelsea, but Papi convinced me. The pass before the pass. That you see that line? That is where he had me there. But then he mentioned something important, you know. Brendan Chappell has mentioned it a lot as well. I have to give Brendan the credit for that too. He's always says Sancho needs to feel that love. You know what I mean? And I mean, like be honest, guys, some players will need a little extra somewhere down the line. And we could call him a snowflake and we could say whatever, but you know, players are different, and getting the best out of players in a versatile way is the best way, you know, you could do it for your team, because at the end of the day, you don't have 11 of the same players on the pitch. A team is a team because it has different qualities and characters that make up that team. You know, it must have somebody to do the groundwork, must have somebody to do the nice work, somebody to finish, somebody in the midfield, somebody tireless. You know, it must have all these characters in there. And I think, to be honest, I would rather keep Sancho than trading him. If we get cash, cool, but trading for Sterling too, bro.
And I think, you know, this is the problem with the modern day footballer. I was on a show a couple of weeks ago, and we're talking about the future of football. We're talking about modernism, and I talked about I'm a relic. I'm a complete relic when it comes to football, because I don't understand the modern day player and I'm not being disrespectful to anybody that needs an arm around him. Because when I'm crunching into a 50-50 challenge and I'm getting up and I'm hobbling and the guy's fucking bleeding or I'm bleeding or whatever, I don't want to look over at somebody and needs a fucking arm around him. That's just me. I'm old school. I grew up a different way of playing football, you know. So I can't resonate with today's game. But I totally get what you mean at the same time, because my lad, bless him, is 23, really, really good, solid player. Doesn't need an arm around him or something, but his mates are like crybabies. They're just like crybabies, you know. Something doesn't go right for them, they'll fucking head will go during a game, and if it's a tight 0-0 or a tight 1, you can't afford anyone's head to drop during a game, and that's what I think you run the risk of with Sancho. Everything else, I totally agree. I've got zero. I really do, and that's what I think. I'm pissed off more than anything with his attitude, and I'm pissed off with the ability that's sitting on a bench that we could have done with maybe on Saturday lunchtime. So I don't disagree at all. I really don't. I think we both spot on. I'm a relic though, guys. I really am.
Speaking about Sancho, this is coming out from Florian Plettenberg, and he said Chelsea and Juventus are still exploring a deal to sign Jadon Sancho until deadline day confirmed. Talks have started, not advanced at this stage. No final decisions yet. It's a very complicated deal. And more clubs inquired about Sancho. So there is a chance that he will be sold before deadline day. And would we be happy with that, even though if we don't have the time to get in a replacement? Mark, you can go first.
I mean, to be fair, like I feel like it's a situation where, you know, if Sancho goes, he goes. You know, I think staying would be the better choice right now, seeing that we have not much time to get a replacement and what's on offer is not really that appealing. You know what I mean? Everything have its own problems. I rather the devil I know than the devil I don't. You know what I mean? And while Raheem Sterling will be a professional that we would expect, he have a different sort of issue. You know, we don't know if he gonna be willing to sit on the bench. We don't know if he gonna throw his toys out the pram. His salary is also 300 something K. Is he going to take a wage cut? We don't know. So for me, I would look at it like on a real stretch, because I really didn't appreciate the last 2 seasons of Chiesa performance. But if we swap for Chiesa, I could understand that, because he will be fresh to the league. He have a point to prove. That is the only profitable situation. Let's be honest and real, because he will not be coming in near anything near 200K a week, probably 120, and be totally satisfied.
He's up for grabs, isn't he? He's up for grabs, isn't he?
He's up for grabs right now. I think Liverpool inquiring about him right now. But you know, if Juventus want Sancho and we're willing to do a swap, that will get priority because they want Sancho. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
It would provide an opportunity for them as well.
He's not likely to go to Chelsea, is he? I mean, you know, if you're Sancho and you're not playing now, would you risk it?
You see, he's a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, true. But would you still risk it though? Because your career is nowhere right now. You've stalled, haven't you? You've stopped.
You see, the weird thing with Sancho is, you know, some things with a player, some players is, you know, things has changed and evolved so quickly in sports. The motivation could be so strong to prove himself, or to say stick it to Man United or whatever you want to say it is. When he go wherever he go, he could explode.
Would he get in at Chelsea though?
Let me be honest. Neto not going to be fit all season. He will get a chance.
Yeah.
And if Sancho show any form close to Dortmund form pre-coming to United, he is going to deliver. And then you know what's going to happen? He's going to be like, look at Raheem Sterling, turning 30 in December. You know what I mean? Not saying that that's a bad thing. He's still very fit for his age. But what I'm saying is, you know, is one of those things where, I mean, sometimes I feel the way we go in on players, especially these young characters under 23, 24, under 24, they're young, dumb, doing stupid things. We need to guide them. And in a lot of situations, I think the camp around these players are failing them majorly. Major. God.
Yeah, they are.
It's not, you know, people would blame the club, but I would blame Sancho's immediate camp because their advice is horrendous. It's the same thing with Marcus Rashford. You know what I mean? They have suffered from people around them who have not had their best interests at heart, other than the fact that they're cash cows. I hate to say it like that, but I just get that feeling.
You're on the precipice of that with your brother. You know, you've got to nurture your brother over the next 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I just keep it real. My brother know me, bro. I just keep it real. I just try to be as nice as possible on stream. I real frank and straightforward. So you know exactly what I go and say to my brother. You don't even have to ask me. I go and tell him straight. You got to work your socks off. You go and get what you give. Don't expect nothing. Earn it. And you can't complain after that. You know what I mean? If you're working hard and you're delivering and they're not giving any chance, we'll find somewhere else for you. He know I will say those things.
I think Sancho's best option's Italy, to be honest. I think it's a better format for him, a better state for him. I think you're right. I think Juventus want him more. I think you look at the Chelsea situation and think it ain't worth it, seriously. Because you're just going into a minefield there. You may miss the mines and get to the other end, but it's unlikely. You're going to get caught at some stage. And you know, we could do with somebody like Chiesa if we can get him back to where he was 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago. You know, it's one of those, isn't it? It's a difficult one.
Speaking on Sancho, there's some other breaking news to say Bayern Munich have reportedly entered in the race to sign Jadon Sancho, who has twice starred for their bitter rivals Borussia Dortmund.
Excellent.
So I think actually the Bundesliga will fit Sancho perfectly, and Bayern Munich, that will be a good club for him. I'm not sure how through this team talk rumors are. It could be a lot of bull.
It's
bullshit.
true.
Yeah,
I hear it whole weekend, bro. Whole weekend since last Saturday. I hear about this.
He's
you live in Germany, so you know this, Mark.
But the biggest problem is the last two words in that paragraph there. Bitter rivals.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I would worry about. They see, like, and Sancho's a nice boy. Like, a lot of people don't know Sancho. Sancho is a nice boy. You know what I mean? I would say, you know, big up Scotty as the wheel member for 12 months. Big up, bro. Thanks for being with us for a whole year. Hopefully we give you better content going forward. I certainly know Jarvis is on top of those things. And you know, well, Mick is the creative genius. So, you know, you can't always rule him out. You know, but yeah, I think that's the only thing to worry about, you know, the bitter rival situation. And if you look at Jadon Sancho's Instagram, is yellow, the yellow wall. That for me is a likely opportunity, seeing that I think Bayern will have the money to do the deal. Maybe we could do a swap deal for Coman. I'm not a huge fan of Kingsley Coman, but what Kingsley Coman offers is an experienced option who could play off the left.
He's on a lot of money. I think he's one of Bayern's most expensive players.
He's on 180 euros.
Ah, you're right.
When they work that out, it's like something like 125, 130. Okay. It's not that huge, and he will be willing to take out a pay cut. You know what I mean? If he getting 120 in pounds, that's not that different. That's, you know what I mean? So I feel like, I think it's like about 180. I think it's like about 180 he's on. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan, but I do think he would offer an option on the left. And for the last couple of years, guys, let's be honest, we have never bought competition.
326 euros.
326.
Yeah.
Who's that? Kingsley Coman.
Bayern Munich paying him 326.
Wow.
Yeah. Euros.
No, but even euros, 326. Kingsley Coman.
So it will be a hard deal to do. It
Whoa.
will cost a lot of money.
I would have never, ever believed that, bro. Kingsley Coman, 326. How much Sane getting? How much Kane getting? $500,000? Kane had to be getting $500,000, bro.
What's the relationship between Company and Sane? Because I've read a few things that it's a bit fractious.
Yeah, Sane not too keen on his tactics, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where Sane having a little bit of difficulty on, you know, because I think the way he wants to play it, Sane going to get a lesser role. As you know, the guy that they brought in, Olise, it will be exactly playing Sane position. So it's we're going to do. So, bro, I think that's a difficult situation there. And if we had to get one, I would take Sane, bro.
Me too.
He's one of the players that, even though he played for a rival, bro, because he went to Bayern Munich for so long, I think I would take Sane, bro. I'll be honest.
It'd be all right. It'd be all right, Sane. It'd be all right, yeah.
I have the transfer guru with me, but I will just read out the latest news. McTominay deal is almost done. Apparently, he will get paid less than 60,000 a week at Napoli, and Man United will have to compensate him with about 3 million pounds for him to leave, and that will leave us with about 22 millions in that deal, because it's 30 million euros, 25 million pounds, 3 million to McTominay. Is that a good deal for us? Should we just take it or leave it?
I think that's the best we're gonna get right now. You know, after we rebuff and we refuse so many deals in the past, you know what I mean? I feel like now is the time when we got to say this is what we're going to get. I mean, it's not ideal. We could have gotten 30 million last season, you know what I mean?
Yeah, easy.
So
probably even more, actually.
Exactly. But you know what? We gained 22 millions. I think that's plenty. That's pure profit. He's an academy graduate. It goes straight into the coffers. It probably would be the equivalent of double what we would get if we had sell a Jadon Sancho in terms of the value that it brings to the club and FFP. I think it's a decent situation. I mean, for what it's worth, I think we could owe those contracts and thank John Murtaugh for those, improbable contracts that he gave. I feel like, when you promise players to get paid off for even if they have an extension, regardless of what, you're running yourself into a situation where you're just losing money.
Yeah. I agree with Mark. I think it's all right. I think we're going to get about 4 million, aren't we, for Mejbri as well? 4 or 5 million out of Burnley for Mejbri.
Plus a sell-on clause on our buyback.
Plus a sell-on clause. So we're going to net, 27, 28 mil. which is ideal, isn't it? So.
Yeah, and that's the latest transfer news. Hannibal Mejbri is signing for Burnley. There was supposed to be a loan, but now they have paid out the money. The transfer fee is not out there yet, so it's just pure speculation. Maybe it's 1 million, maybe it's 10 million. We don't know.
That'll go undisclosed. That will, Jarvis. They'll put that.
It's probably closer to like about 8. The rumor was that they was going to pay something like £10 million with a obligation to buy.
Disclose
so
it,
I feel like they'll probably give them a slight discount on, they pay cash up front. So let me say 7-8 million, somewhere there.
Yeah.
Well, I feel when they don't disclose it, it's probably really low. I think maybe we are talking about 3 to 5 at the max. For me,
it's one of those. I don't know why they don't disclose a fee, but you get the odd 1-2 a year, don't you? It gets undisclosed. I mean, but these little things have added up. We sold 2 or 3 players, haven't we, for 3, 4, 5 million quid, and it just adds it up, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Well, at least we get to cut down the squad. I think we're opening up new spaces for other people to come through. We have Collier. We need other signings. So yeah, I think that's a good way to go forward and just get rid, because I don't think Hannibal will have a chance in hell to play on this Man United team. So it's better to just get rid. I'm
happy that Burnley is his next stop, because he's one of those people that I feel like, he has something to offer. It's just not Man United level. And being in the Championship, Burnley is a very good team that will probably make it into the Premier League next season. And if he can grow with that team, let's not forget he's only 21 years old, and that's pretty young. Still, I'm forgetting who the manager is now, the new Burnley manager. But I think like it's just a matter of time till we see Hannibal in the Premier League, and this is a very good trajectory from the player's perspective for the career path.
Scott Parker, former Fulham manager.
Oh, Scott Parker?
Yeah.
Oh, he's perfect for Mejbri. Perfect. Yeah, great mentor. Similar type of player, actually, the two of them. Scotty Parker was, a lot of people never really recognise it. He's very tenacious, but really good on the ball as well. So it'd be ideal for Mejbri. If you can keep him grounded, won't have to move as well. It's perfect. He can stay at home, stay where he is. He doesn't have to move. It's ideal for him.
Do we have a sell-on clause or anything, or is that
hefty?
Sell-on and a buyback.
All right.
It's the one thing you could say United have done with their business this summer. They've done good business. All the young players that left with sell-ons and buyback clauses. So, and I think we got fair value for some of the players. Scott McTominay, I think, is fair value. What I mean? The reports today, like Tommy Ball was asking, the reports today, Ugarte is the deal, has been agreed in principle. The fee, everything has been agreed. It's now the basic situation now is that the lawyers will be working out the paperwork and, they signing the contracts. Then they'll hear the here we go, player comes for the medical. So, it's one of those things. I think all the deals we've done this summer, regardless of how long they take, long or short, is a situation where the new structure got it on their terms, on the terms that they projected according to what they can manage, how they can manage it well going forward into the next couple of seasons. So I would say that's a win-win for United. So far, I would say when Ugarte comes in, I would say this window is at 7.9. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and to be honest, Mark, the best bit of business we've done is, and I don't want to bring him up again, is our former number 11. He's had a smashing start at Marseille. I mean, he's elevated himself already. He's been superb, and that sell-on clause is about 40%, isn't it? 45%. Yeah, well, we're going to make, if they can move him on in 2 years, we're going to make some serious coin out of that. We really are.
You see, there's a real complicated situation, that one, like, I don't think it might be very hard for him to want to leave right now. The entire stadium gave him a standing ovation yesterday.
Singing his name, weren't they?
Singing his name. Yeah. And I was watching the game, bro, and I nearly came to tears because I was so proud of the dude. To get the fan base to recognize you and give you that prop after all what was said by the mayor, I think that was huge. And, Greenwood delivering for them. He could have had 4 goals in 2 games, but he gave away a penalty. So the other debutant could get a goal. He won 2 penalties in that game, by the way. Yeah. Gave them both away. one to Henrique, who missed, and one to the next guy who came on and scored. So it's one of those things. I think that was the answer to our right-wing problem, but
good header
it
at
is
the back
what it is. The situation was what it was.
Yeah. So
we also sell Will Fish for what? For I think it was 2 million or 3 million.
2 million, yeah. Will Fish went, didn't he? Yeah, that was during last week, wasn't it? Yeah.
As a sell on and a buyback there as well.
But he did well in Kilmarnock and he gained a lot of experience. He's young, I think he could be a great centre back. Just give him a little bit of time, but it's not Man United material when it comes to Will Fish. So it is what it is with these young guys. We have some comments here. I just want to bring this up from Elite Baller. He says, Stu Roy is so fucking hard. He rides a wild bison to work.
You are absolutely right.
Jarvis, I have to say, guys, this is not a regular YouTube day for this guy right here. He hit a milestone.
Yes. I saw that.
Yeah, guys. I almost forgot. Yeah, having so much fun. I hit 1K today, guys. Thank you to everyone, each and every one of you. The support has been tremendous. I am actually, there's not enough things I could say to tell you all. Thank you for all the support you have shown me and my channel. You all come in there 8 o'clock in the morning to watch my streams, even when I'm late. Many apologies for being late, but big up to all of you guys for the support. Jarvis gives good advice. Papi, facilitates me with the watch along streams and all these things. And, Stu is always there watching the streams. Sometimes when I see one of my most valuable watchers is Stu Wally, big up to everyone. Elite Baller is always in the chat. Stephanie Griffith, massive, GB as well. Everyone like Brendan is always there. Box, Imran Khan is there. Madhouse is there. There's so many of you always there. Jim Watkins as well. I can't say thank you enough, guys, but hopefully the content is going to be improving and better content so you could enjoy it more. Yeah, we'll be here.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
I see there's a lot of questions coming in because we are about to go into the Q&A session. Before we go to the Q&A session, I will just play the regular Q&A intro as we always do. But first, before we go there, I just want to say we are co-streaming to Power Hour, Botswana Power Hour. So there's a lot of people watching on that channel too. Don't forget to smash the like, hit the subscribe. Poppy's almost, do you have 2,000 subscribers
50
now?
subscribers are we? Almost there. Let's give him a final push, guys.
Jump over to Poppy's channel and subscribe, and come back here. And we have to help each other and go Poppy.
Oh, you're never going to shake that dude, are you?
No, but he had to make it his own. I gotta
get a tattoo of it or something.
You just have to own it. Yes. Every time. Go.
When you made it, when people remember stuff like that, because that's what we're here for, isn't it? To entertain as well as talk great football. So.
Exactly. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to open up the Q&A, and I will put you into the main seats. I will jump down to second place, and here is the jingle.
You don't have to answer that question.
I'll answer the question. You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Oh yeah.
Roll up.
Before you start, we have gifts from Rush Mano, 10 gifted membership.
Come on, Jarvis. Come on, Marco. What you got? I'll tell you, that's getting worse, Jarvis. You got to deal with that. Come on.
I know. It's really weak, right?
it's getting weak. Come on now. You got to deal with it.
The visuals are better than the sound. Jarvis, he can do that.
I will just thank Rush Mano for gifting 10 members. We have Mel, we have Riot, Thomas Vedjanos, Neil Driscoll, we have Nick Cadogan, Egenberg, Irfan, Arno, Chisled Planet, Jay, and Henrik. Henrik sounds like a Norwegian name, or I don't know.
Like Henrik.
Big up Henrik. That's 10 gifted memberships from the king himself of transfers, Rush Mono. And thank you for sending me the YouTube links or Twitter links to the latest updates. And now I leave the wheel to my friend Stu Woolley.
roll up, and welcome to the Q&A. Just before we start, guys, I'd just like to say from a personal point of view, I love this channel because the VAR room and the people that we work with have a real deep knowledge of ball. You don't often get that. You go to a lot of channels. I work on on a lot of channels. They know their stuff, but there's no real depth to the knowledge that the VAR room has, and the guys that are with me, and Tom and Mick. So, you can never underestimate, the way that Jarvis, Mark, Pappy, Mick, Tom talk about football. You learn a lot. I learn a lot. I've been in the game for years. It feels like forever. And I'm still learning, listening to certain things that these guys are talking about. And the best of it is we all see football differently. We all love the game differently, and that's the good thing, is you can have good debate on this channel without upsetting anybody, without going over the top. So I just want to say thank you to all, specifically the VAR room, because there's been some great comments in there today about certainly the game against Brighton and my controversial opinion, which Mark may or may not have heard, on Mr. Garnacho's.
I did hear it. I kind of agree with Stu on that one 100%, to be fair. Like, when I saw it, the first thing I would say is Roofer. You know what I mean? Papi and them didn't even notice I say Roofer. And then I stoops. Because I see when he put the ball low, and I was like, yo, that's asking for trouble. That's supposed to be up in the top bins. 100%. Now, while I wouldn't go, I will agree it also that is the difference between elite footballers and top athletes. But Garnacho's still young. You know what I mean? He did make a mistake. I think he was he rushed at the goal a little bit. He could have stopped the ball and take his time and place the shot. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things. Hopefully make a better choice the next time.
Definitely.
It was not his dominant foot, right?
Matters not. You're 6 feet away from goal, bro.
Yeah,
I don't know why you even arguing that, Papi.
You guys are harsh.
These are attacking, bro. Listen. Understand what I'm saying? These guys are young talents that they're exceptional. You have to remember that he's an exceptionally talented youngster. To make it to where he make it at this age, he's exceptional, bro. He playing football in academy all his life for these moments exactly, right? So when you're 6 yards away from goal, whether you're playing under 20, under 21s, international, bro, is the same 6 yards away from goal. No matter which keeper you're facing, bro, same 6 yards.
All I know is that Pappy would have buried it if he'd been there.
Sure.
I would have buried that and all, bro.
I would have used the outside of your foot, like
Pappy would have smashed a home run.
I actually, Pappy, just quickly, I would use the very tip of your foot. The very tip of your foot, just the curve there. That's where you do it, and you get a nice bit of backspin, nice bit of lift. That would lift up. Anyway, we digress. Thank you all for your questions. As always, they're brilliant. We're going to start off with Jarvis, who has to serenade our good old mate Pappy, and here it is. Oh no, that's not it. Where's it gone? Oh yeah, there it is. So there you have to serenade Pappy. Come on.
Go, Pappy, go. Go, Pappy, go. Pappy, be good.
Great job. Hit the like button for that. If you don't, come on now.
Trev, I'm so sorry, pal. I apologize. That was abysmal.
Trevor is the one who should apologize for this.
We should. Great question as always, Trevor. We love you to bits. You know that, mate. Right, Pappy, we'll start with you. Brendan, always gives some great questions. What can we learn from the match versus Brighton instead of bashing players? Great question, as always. Question. Yeah. So, Pappy, over to you, pal.
One thing that is undeniable is that our pressing is improved. We cannot watch this Brighton game and the Fulham game and say we're playing the exact same way off the ball. Off the ball, we're good. We need to be better on the ball.
Yeah.
That was the underlying like thing from that performance. I feel like, you know, the moment the whole thing was just like anytime, you know, we are trying to create chances, was still sort of like not fully synchronized. You know, there we have moments where, say, for example, Marcus Rashford was bringing the ball to the byline, and then from there, he's like, you know, his teammates are just really right there on the defensive line, like expecting that ball through. And then he cuts back. And then afterwards, then he does the ball into the half space. But then that moment, the moment of danger is just dwindled down. So it's our on the ball work that needs to drastically improve. But there is an undeniable difference, visible difference, that we know how to defend better. And it's only going to improve. I hope it's going to improve from now on.
Great answer there, Pappy. Thank you very much. Trev, sorry, Brendan. I've got Trev because Jarvis has got a lot of love. Although somebody did say Jarvis for the Led Zeppelin. Not so sure about that one. I'm not so sure about that one. So. Yeah, but thanks, Pappy, for that. Brendan, I hope Pappy's answered your question. Mark, got a one for you. What if Onana gets injured? We don't know enough about Bayadea, do we really? We've seen him, obviously. We don't know enough about him. So, again, another good question. Thanks, Madhouse, for that.
Well, I would say this, Madhouse, it would be a situation where we'll get to learn a lot about Bayadea and what he has to offer the team. I think when we brought him in, he was brought in because he's very good with his feet, but he was an even better shot stopper. I think that's what is different between Bayadea and Onana. He's a better shot stopper, but he's also very good with his feet. Now, how that balances, I can't say for sure. I've seen him play a few games for Turkey, and he's been decent. You know, I can't say he's been exceptional, especially in the Euros. I think he only played one game, you know what I mean, and he conceded a goal. So I think what I would say is that it would be an opportunity to learn about Bayern, and I don't think that's something we should be afraid of. I mean, at the end of the day, Onana can't always be fit. I think this season we'll see more of Bayern there. I think we'll see a lot of rotation this season. Might even see Tom Heaton. You know what I mean? So look forward to it. Madhouse, it could be something that change our seasons for the better, because if Bayern comes in and does a good job, then Onana has to work harder, you know?
Yep, totally agree. Madhouse, I hope that's answered your question. Good old Trev's got another one for Jarvis. It's a really good question as well. So Trevor's looking at it from a financial point of view, the continuance with Casemiro. So Trevor's asking, does he need to be sold? Trev thinks his legs are draining. Legs are going. So is he just draining the cash, where it could be invested in a better player if we sign Ugarte as well? I think it's a really good question, a really good analysis, an analogy about draining cash. So over to you, Jarvis. And I've got a doozy for you, Pappy, after.
Yeah. I think that's a brilliant question, Trevor. And for me, I always said that Casemiro needs to be sold. And we saw it against Brighton, because for me, I think Casemiro takes too much responsibility compared to his qualities. And I think it holds us a little bit back. We have, as if you have seen Ten Hag's earlier teams, we have a lot of ball progressors at the back. So we don't rely. We did when Frankie de Jong was there, but not in his second team, when he had Gravenberch and was this Alvarez guy playing in the central of midfield. None of them were carriers of the ball. The carrying come from the defense, and this is what Ten Hag is trying to do now. We are bringing in Masraoui, we are bringing in the Ligt, we have Martinez, and we have Dalot, but probably Luke Shaw will play there when he's fit. But we need a new left back. I agree with the devil's advocate from Tom. But what I see now is we need someone to allow the back line to carry the ball up front. Now we see Casemiro drops down and takes a little bit too much space, and he's not really good when it comes to long balls. You know, he can't break down the opposition. It's too predictable, and he don't spread them right or left. I actually miss Amrabat, because Amrabat, when he played the last 4 games of the season, he was a tank. He could spread the ball right and left, and you saw it on the heat maps. We were very I would say synchronized in how we attacked. We were both right and left, and I would say also he had the ability to sniff out the defensive work needed to be done. But Casemiro is more like he wants to create, and when he goes forward, I feel that he's taking a risk all the time. It's almost like he's get overrun. So for me, I think Casemiro needs to go for us to progress. He's holding us back big time. So yeah, Casemiro needs to be sold.
Trevor, I hope that answers your question. Good answer there, Jarvis. Thank you for that. Pappy, great question from Tommy Boyle, 71. Question: is this a problem that needs addressing urgently? In 20 years, 92 to 2022, we only lost 2 games by 90th minute winner under ETH, Erik ten Hag. We conceded 90th minute winner 6 times already.
Damn.
It's a tricky one to answer. I get that, but I think you're very well equipped to do that.
Yeah, it's like what in the reverse Fergie time is going on right now, because like our main problem, I feel like, is the fact that one, Ten Hag is requiring a lot from these players, right? From just the standard that he has. He's a very stubborn manager in his way of playing, right? I wish if I could see him face to face, I'd say sometimes it's not always about getting the ball forward. It's about just teaching your players that passing sideways, Louis van Gaal style, when you have to, is very important. I'm really not even looking at Manchester United, his turn at Man United. I'm thinking about that game versus Pochettino, Ajax versus Spurs. Like this, Ajax were supposed to be in the Champions League final, and they blew it. And it's not by coincidence. There's something weird that is going on, but the weak mentality of the players has to also come into question. It's not just Erik ten Hag, the team has to also, like we talked about it a little bit earlier on. Tom eloquently said it. I think it's like having leaders that can say, all right, we're changing. When you're playing PlayStation or you're playing whatever, these moments where you can say, we're ultra attacking or we're ultra defending. It's just a shift in a synchronization in the mentality that needs to be for the whole team, saying, all right now it's time to close shop. So playing to the final whistle needs 100% commitment. There's another thing to consider in this, the fact that I think Tommy, back then, like by back then I mean like whatever, in the 90s, right? Stoppage time was not as much as the stoppage time we're having right now. So that statistic is also like not really considering like the fact that there's been quite a drastic change. Usually 3 minutes was a long time, and now we have games going for plus 8 9 minutes added on, 8 minutes added on, and it's so that can sort of like skew our perception of that statistic. But that's a very, very nice question, Tommy.
Yeah, well, brilliant answer as well, Pappy. Tommy, I hope that answers your question. I think Pappy's covered it 100%. Mark, got a nice one for you. You'll like this. It's from Stephanie. And she was wanting to know who's the best equipped to mark Salah on Sunday.
Well,
yeah, great question.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Dalot because, if you look at the last few games, he's done well against the wingers, which have been the best wingers for the team, each team we've played against so far. I would say Dalot would be the best option because of that. Now, while Salah is a very good winger and he poses a good threat, he's not a left footer. You understand? So that makes it a little bit easier for Dalot because he playing off his right foot would give Dalot time to mark. You know what I mean? The ball has to come across Dalot's body in the situation to Dalot's best foot, which is his right foot. And Dalot is also left-footed. Now, I think in a situation like that, it's going to be down to the centre-back, really, how we deal with Mo Salah. Because how Lisandro Martinez constructs this game and marshals that defense from where he playing is how Dalot will be able to pick up and mark Salah out on the zone. because when Salah comes down into that wide position, you know, he wants to do two things. Either he goes to the line or he's going to cut inside. Now, depending on where Lissandro is cutting out the option, you know what I mean, it makes Dalo's job easier as opposed to harder. You understand? So I feel like it depends both on Dalo and Lissandro. I think they have developed a decent relationship so far. Of course, you know, we conceded that late-minute goal. I wouldn't really blame it on Dalo, because when I looked at the crossing, you know, we had a couple corners to defend in that game. If you look how we set up for those corners, you know, Dalo was not marking the last post.
No, he wasn't.
It actually was Casemiro and McTominay. So technically, if you superimpose the situation where we was in a corner defense and that cross, technically McTominay and Casemiro are responsible for the players being left unmarked, because when we was at the corner and I looked at all three corners and I froze the frame just to make sure that I'm not going crazy.
Yeah.
Casemiro and McTominay were at the back post.
Yep.
And if you look at the initial position after the corner, Casemiro and McTominay, they push straight out to the top of the box. One of them should have stayed back at the post. That's at least what I think. And I think if you look at the current construct of our defensive shape when we defend in set pieces, it's much better. It's much securer than what it was before. Because instead of having a flat line of defenders, we have defenders strategically placed in like a offset manner. And that now makes it even more trickier for defenders to make a pass or to get a shot off. Because our defenders at different positionings would give them time to react to different stages. So I think, like Dalo would be the guy. He's been playing left back soundly. You know, he should have had an assist. You know, I think he would be shaking his head at Ahmad. But, you know, next game, he get a similar cross like that. I think Ahmad would use his head and bury that cross next time.
Yeah.
So just to add to that, I think you're absolutely right, Mark. I think Dalo and Martinez, you won. But I would actually... I would go 3 at the back on Sunday, and I would do that for that reason. And I'll tell you why, because what you're speaking about was Salah penetrating the pocket in behind Dalo and in behind Martinez. I know we see it all the time. He always pops up, doesn't he? Just on the edge, gets the crossing and the pullback. What everyone's forgetting about, and Stephanie won't have been thinking about it, is our good old friend Diogo Jota, and he will come in from the opposite side, and I think we're going to need more strength in the middle of the park at the back to accompany that. And I think Dalo and I think that Mazzari will be capable enough to play. It does mean you sacrifice 2 wingers, you got to go top, but that's what I would consider that. It's just a consideration, and I think I know for a fact Arne Slot wouldn't be expecting that. So let's lighten up with Pappy. What is your go-to snack? I don't know where that's come from. It didn't come from me.
Is it the butter chicken thing? The butter chicken thing?
No, that's meal. Snack, I'd say I just do some light fruit, you know, like just how we started the stream, you know, like it could be whatever, banana, apple, grapes, whatever, any fruit. And, you know, I really like fruits. So yeah, that's what I've been trying to snack on lately. But sometimes I have my moments where it can be whatever, you know, crisps, Pringles, whatever, you know. I jump a lot to the different kinds of snacks.
I can't believe you don't like a curly whirly. I mean, they're the greatest snack going there.
A good curly whirly, you can't beat that, bro. So
I love a curly whirly. I do. Jarvis is thinking, what's a curly whirly?
No, but I'm thinking. I think your favorite snack in the 80s was a marathon. Stu.
No, yes, I liked a marathon and a Mars bar, but back in the 80s, you had a proper marathon and a proper.
What's a marathon?
Yeah, the proper,
Snickers.
the old one.
Sorry, it's Snickers. It used to be called in the UK, for whatever reason, it used to be called a marathon. Everywhere else, it was a Snickers. We've only just come into line with it in the late 80s, not early 90s, I think. So
I gave you a 80s reference, you know.
You did, because I'm
old people. No, I'm old.
Yeah. No, yes, we're both on. Jarvis, you're back. Scotty the wheel. Jadon Sancho, with regards to a swap deal, would you take Chilwell and Sterling and Academy or Jadon plus 20 million for De Jong.
Okay, say again.
I don't want to talk about De Jong.
2 academies, and or Jadon plus 20.
Yeah, yes. Or for De Jong. So Jadon plus 20 mil for De Jong. Yeah.
I feel it's like a tricky question, but
It's a very tricky question.
I would have De Jong. Yeah, I think as a player, his profile would actually fit our team perfectly. We all know this. We have analyzed De Jong for 2 years now. So yeah, I would swap him. I would swap him right away. I would take him.
For the record, I never wanted De Jong, but there you go. Just a quick one for Elite Baller. He has put in the main comments. I think he's up to about 200 subs. So if we could all go and everybody could go and like and subscribe to Elite Baller's channel. He's a great friend of our show, great friend of the VAR room. So please go and do that. I shall do that at some point later on tonight or in the morning, Elite Baller. So we will do that. Pappy, if we lose badly to Liverpool, does Ten Hag get sacked or do they give him till January regardless?
Ten Hag should not get sacked even if we lose badly to Liverpool, but he can get criticized. He can get, the scrutiny because the Manchester United is not managing for everybody. It's you're in the limelight. Your decisions are analyzed to the T. So about giving him till January, I feel like after 15 games, and that's I guess about January then. Yeah. So yeah, you make an evaluation of how the project is going. I think it's a okay sample size to say, all right, how are things? Has he lost the dressing room? Is it really time for the board to intervene? So I really feel even if we lose badly to Liverpool, you still stick with Ten Hag and do not make a reactionary decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you on that one.
I want to ask Elite Baller to write another question or reply. Why does everybody think that Liverpool is going to be amazing? The last 2 games, the first half was dross. Literally garbage. They should have been down 2-0 actually after the first half of this last game as well. They're lucky. But I mean, at the same time, they did come away 2-0 winners at the end in both situations. I just feel like they had terrible first halves in both games. So I was actually more worried about the Brighton game than I am worried about the Liverpool game, because to me, they are teams slightly in a flux situation, although Arne Slot plays quite similar to what Jurgen Klopp did. There are differences and nuances to his positional-based football because they do build up a lot slower, this Liverpool team.
It's more possession, but they still have the direct ball as they used to have on the club. So there's a hybrid, I would say, between maybe Ten Hag and Klopp now that Arne Slot is doing, and I'm actually quite impressed by Liverpool. But as we saw against us in the friendly, they leave a couple of guys up front just sitting there, and they're deadly on the counter attack if you try to press them high and stuff like that. So I think Arne Klopp, he has some I don't know if it's revolutionary, but very unusual tactics.
An open game he plays, Jarvis, to this extent. I think Papi wouldn't like that, you know what I mean? Because it remind him of basketball, football. But at the same time, to be fair, no, I mean, if you watch the 2 games that they played, they play a lot of balls over the top now. Liverpool never really used to do that.
Revolutionary was not the word. Eccentric was the word I was looking
for. Yeah, actually, I think the way he plays might suit our style a little bit, but it'll be interesting. Got to beat the Butler, the Dutch.
And guys, check this out. The Manchukushna in the chat says, someone said Onslaught looks like Pochettino's face on Pep's bald head.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
I wish I could unsee that because now the image
don't. Oh, my word. Right, moving on from there. Stephanie's just asked me a quick question. Is it true you made your debut at Jurassic Park? That is very true, Stephanie.
With Banana.
I grew up with a velociraptor as a pet. I'm that old. You're absolutely right. So, and when I've got my Zimmer frame out, it does fit in with that period. So, Thank you for that, Steph. Mark,
Mhm.
I think there's a very, very quick and very straightforward answer to this, but is Xerxes overweight? I'm not quite
No
sure why
way.
that's coming from.
Or could you
Wicket.
say out of shape in a way? Try to put it as
Bro,
delicate as
have
we
you
can.
seen
Why
this guy with?
he's not
I mean,
huge.
okay, no, don't make it sound like that, right? But
He's
I
just
have
big.
recently seen some training images of these guys, and this fella is ripped. He is
Yeah.
ripped.
He's
He looks
huge.
big. Remember, this guy is 6'4", you know, guys.
Yeah.
He looks like he's bulky, but he really isn't. It's just because he's, for some strange reason, I think it's because he have one of those equilateral bodies, you know. He's same length. His upper torso and his lower torso is the same length, but he's 6'4", so he looks shorter than he is. You know, mostly people who are about 6 feet, the legs are a little bit longer, so you can actually see the height on them. But when
Same
somebody
height as
body,
you, Mark. You are 6'2",
yeah, I'm
6'3"?
6'1.5", so it's not too
Okay,
far, but
yeah.
still far from
He's,
still far.
he-
6'4" is a little about 2 inches up there. You know what I mean? It's like that.
I think
So,
where he is, his style's very languid, isn't it? He's not explosive. He hasn't got a 10-yard explosion in his feet. He's very Berbatov-esque in the way that he plays, his mannerisms. Obviously, he's not as skillful as Dimitar, who is, but he's very he's certainly not overweight. Wicker, it's a good question. I understand why you'd ask it. I hope Mark
is
explain
6'4"
that to you.
perspective for people that like
Yeah.
Holland is the exact same height as Xerxes. So,
Yeah,
but
No,
he have
totally.
long legs
but
and
exactly
a short torso. So
shorter torso.
it's basically the body shape that makes him look like he's short. To be fair.
This one's a bit of fun for our musician up in the top right-hand corner. As I look at left-hand corner from me, are we able to request songs? Actually, no. Put me back. Put me back. If you comment after the stream, please put your songs in there that you'd like Jarvis to learn. And then next week, unfortunately, I'm away on holiday next week, but if Mark can make it, he can introduce Q&A, and he can introduce the songs for Jarvis. So get your throat massaged and get singing. So put all your songs in the chat after the show, and Jarvis will pick one song and he will serenade the VAR room. Sorry,
when
Jarvis.
the moon hits the sky, it's a big pizza pie, that's amore.
Oh God! So somebody in the chat said you've already smashed one. You've already smashed one window in their house. Can you please not smash any more?
I'll shut up now.
No, we love you, really. We love it. Right. Question, Jarvis.
Yes.
How good is United's defence for Euro to master his trade with Leach and De Ligt to learn from? And do you see Maguire and Lindo both going? Okay.
Yeah, it's a good question. I haven't seen enough from Euro to actually make a judgment on him. He's young, and when it comes to young players, you never know their potential. Yeah, he looks great now, but will he develop in the way we want? I think he needs to gain some more muscles. I think he's quite naive in the way he takes the ball with him. You know, he has I would say a weak feint when he tries to stop the defender and bring the ball forward. I don't think it will work in the Premier League when you're up against faster and stronger players. It went well in the French league, so he needs to develop a lot. I don't think we will see him play game after game this year. I think we will see him have some spells and games, maybe 3 to 4 at max, and then he will sit out for a month, and then maybe have 10 minutes here and 10 minutes there. So I'm not expecting much from Euro this year, but yeah, he will learn from a guy like De Ligt and Leach. They're both, I would say, leaders, experienced. And De Ligt actually came in quite young himself, playing for Ajax. I think he played as a centre back, 17 years old, for Ajax in the Europa League final against us. And he has a lot of experience for being as young as he is. So I think De Ligt can actually be a good mentor for him. But also Leach, we know he's a baller, and he has that South American fire and spirit in him. And I hope that Euro will pick the best from two worlds. So yeah, and your last question, Maguire and Lindelof, yes, they need to go, and they will go. They are on their last year of the contract, so worst case scenario, they will stay until the end of the season.
Yeah, just quickly as a centre half, if I was Mr. Euro, I would be looking and trying to learn from Leitcher and De Ligt, but I'll be focusing on my own development because centre half's only as good as you are as an individual, and sometimes you, as a centre half, you've got to be selfish. You've got to develop a selfish game as well as a partnership. So that's what I would be doing. But I hope that answered your question, Scotty at the wheel. Got a very tongue-in-cheek one for you here, Pappy. It is really tongue-in-cheek, but I wasn't going to put it up, but we will do. Question for Pappy: when are you going to be jailed for saying you want Sterling? I don't believe you did say that.
I think this is with regards. This morning I had a stream.
Oh, okay, right.
And,
okay.
Yeah, and it was a question of the day,
That's
which was,
right.
is Raheem Sterling better than Rashford? And I just said yes or no. Actually, Jarvis, is Raheem Sterling better than Rashford? Yes or no?
Oh no, I plead the fifth.
Oh, come on, be a man.
Sorry, can I just say there is no Fifth Amendment or any amendments in Norway?
Exactly.
So you can't plead that.
What do you say? Yes or no?
Me?
I don't know. Let Mark. You can have it, please.
Jarvis,
No.
you know you're off the hook, but Mark, what do you say?
He's not.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Let me put it like this, right? As much as Rashford has been inconsistent over the last 3 years, and which matters the most, Rashford has been better. And that's why I was telling you should have made the argument about Sancho.
Okay. All right. Stu,
That's the argument I was making. I tend to agree. I think you're right. I don't think Sterling's a better player than Rashford. I think over the last 3 years, Rashford has been more productive. So no, I wouldn't go with Sterling.
Okay.
See, Jarvis, it wasn't that difficult.
But that's why we love football, though, isn't it? You know, that's why we love football.
Yeah.
But Botswana.
So the show was this. It was just that question, and everybody, and we did a little bit of a deeper, lengthy discussion on what Raheem Sterling brings, blah blah blah. So I was not advocating for Raheem Sterling. I actually made a poll, and the community said 56% said yes, Raheem Sterling is better. 56% of the people in the Football Power Hour community said that, and it was so that's why it's a splitting thing but I was not advocating for us to go get Sterling. I want to make that clear vibe. So please do not call the police on me.
Moving on before Pappy gets arrested and does have to plead the fifth.
Exactly.
Let's move on. Mark, one for you.
You know, my answer to that would be a very short, quick answer, right?
Yeah.
I just go and say no.
Yeah.
I will say no. But
Yeah.
what I will say is that, the real question I think, Paul, you want to ask is Ten Hag, does he have the power to make the decisions with the squad as he see fit? That's the better question, I think, to Paul. And
that is the question,
I think now with the structure that we have, yes, he does. As you could see in the game on Saturday, after the 50th minute, Rashford was hitting the bench normally. And if you look at last season, that was not happening. Amad Diallo is starting games. You know what I mean? I think he has more power to make the substitutions that we were expected to see last season. That's what I actually think, to be fair.
Yeah. No, it's a good one.
Okay.
We've got 2 questions to go from Paul. I'll answer this one quickly because I'm quite not sure what you're getting at, but he's not coming back to Old Trafford, if that's what you're asking, Paul.
Fiorentina.
No, Fiorentina. He had a howler on his debut.
Yeah. Oh, he did have a howler. Yeah, he didn't play particularly well, but he'll get there. I think you're talking about. Yeah, I think if you're asking, is he going to get his start? His persona back, his overall confidence. Then he'll 2-3 games and he'll be fine. So Jarvis, the final question falls on you. Because I couldn't give Pappy another Sancho question because honestly, he's on the brink.
I don't want to
He's on the
incriminate
brink.
myself.
He's on the brink of the slammer as it is. I couldn't give him another Sancho question. So, Jarvis, and you cannot plead the fifth.
Okay.
But I do like the question, though. It's a really well put together question and makes a lot of sense. And what he's asking is, Jadon doesn't get a transfer. Can you envision a Ronaldo scenario, contract termination by mutual consent? I think it's a great question. Yeah, I know it's something we haven't covered, something we haven't brought up. I think it's too expensive for what it's worth.
Well, yeah. and for me, I think it comes down to the Glazers again, because they are running the financial part of the club. And I think this is a financial question. I think United will take a huge loss if they terminate his contract, and we'll have to pay out most likely the remainder of his contract, and he's on huge wages. Are we talking about 15 million a year? And he has 2 years left on his contract, so that will be 30 million pounds. And I don't think the Glazers can defend it in front of their shareholders, terminating 30 million pounds to the bank. It will never happen. With it. Yeah. Even though if Ineos or Ten Hag wants it, it won't happen.
But here's the thing, though, and this is where I think it's a really valid point, because you're going to pay him the money anyway. If we can't sell him, we're going to end up paying him the money. And I'm with you on that. It doesn't make any kind of financial sense to let me get rid of that comment. Sorry, Trev. you can't get rid of it. You know, from a financial point of view, you're either paying him 30 mil over the remaining of his contract, or you've got to pay him 30 mil. So that's why I like the question. I think it's a really good question, guys. That's been it for Q&A, and we're about to wrap up the show.
Yes,
it's been brilliant once again. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have, but I'm going to hand you over to the man himself, the one who's on his way to Guantanamo Bay as soon as he says goodnight, and that is Jarvis Cocker, who, by the way, he's going to have to sing a pulp song and nothing more.
Yeah, I will, but not on this show. You have to tune in next Monday, 9 p.m.
Yes, next Monday. Tuesday.
Because
Tuesday. You're not here next Monday.
Tuesday. It will be Tuesday because I will be away. I'm traveling to Prague next weekend, and I will be home. Well, it might be a Monday. I'm not sure when maybe. We will see.
I'll be away.
But before we go, I just want to say big up to the guys watching, guys and girls, Stephanie, Whistler, Elite Paul, Lilis, Brendan, Trevor. You all know who you are, contributing with all those brilliant comments, and to the panel, and Madhouse coming in with the good banter and chat people. So 99 Madhouse and Brush is here also. A lot of people still watching after 2 hours, 21 minutes and 55 seconds. Yes. So it's been a huge show where we have had a lot of banter, a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, but serious football discussions too. And I hope you liked the new segment with the Devil's Advocate, and have your say after the show in the non-live sections, and give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you want us to continue with the Devil's Advocate as a segment or for the show. Before we go, I just want to bring you this one, because today we heard that the former England manager and Sampdoria manager and Manchester City manager Sven-Göran Eriksson passed away. Mick made a tweet on it. He said that as a fellow Swede, it's with sadness to say goodbye to a legend of the game. So rest in peace, Sven-Göran Eriksson. My deepest condolences. And I will also bring my condolences from the rest of the MUFC Realist TV team, and most likely you guys in the chat. So he was a great man, died way too early. So rest in peace, Sven-Göran Eriksson. Yes, and that will be the end of the show. There's still some news, but this is not a news show. We will just bring you the ideas and talk about what we think about football, and this will be the spirit of Jarvis's Corner forever. So guys, thank you for tuning in. We will be here next Monday, 9 p.m. or maybe Tuesday. We don't know yet.
Maybe.
But that's it. Let's just wrap it up. Have a good one and see you on the next.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.